أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه وأهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه وأهل بيته وبارك وسلم اللهم صل على سيدنا شفينا حبيبنا مرشدنا محمد نبي الأمي وعلى أهله وصحبه وأهل بيته وبارك وسلم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إلهي بحق فاطمة کور ایمانی إلهي بحق فاطمة کور ایمانی إلهي بحق فاطمة کور ایمانی بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا سيدي يا مولاي يا حسين يا سيدي يا مولاي يا حسين يا سيدي يا مولاي يا حسين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ناد علي مظهر عجائب تجده أو أنلك في النوائب كل هم وغم سينجلي بعظمتك يا الله بنبوتك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بولايتك يا علي يا علي يا علي أدركني في سبيل الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وسيدنا محمد وأجل فرجه. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. Today we are going to cover a topic which is the most fundamental Kalima Tayyiba, from a Sufi perspective. This Kalima, as we all know, is the Kalima which purifies us, brings us into Iman. The reason why this topic has been chosen is the explanation given about this Kalima in the today's tafsirs of the Quran, or in most of the text which is found, is very basic. And unfortunately, in today's world of fitna, even though the kalima is supposed to purify us, because we are not able to tap into its potential, we are not able to derive benefits after reciting this kalima. So let's jump straight into this topic. So brothers and sisters, a disclaimer I put all the time that this particular presentation that we're going through is at the level of tariqat, haqiqat and marfat into Sufiyat. Most of the ilm is from the Qadriya tariqat perspective and ilm which is given by the kutubs of Allah. So somebody who's listening to this for the first time, who's at the level of Sharia, my humble request is please keep an open mind and try to see if this presentation benefits you. Definitely most of the topics which will be covered in this particular presentation is not widely available outside, and hence I would request brothers and sisters to have some patience. I'm also in this journey with you, brothers and sisters, and my last intention would be to misguide anybody. The only reason I put these presentations online is to make it easy for a seeker. As it is, we live in a world which is so difficult. So if I can be help to anybody out there to make their life a little easier, who is in this path of self-discovery, I will feel that I can go back to my Lord and say that I did something. Maybe it's not enough, but I did something which hope pleases him and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So brothers and sisters, let's go right into it. And again, if any mistakes you find in these topics, it's definitely coming from me and not from the kutubs or the awliyas or the mashayikhs who have taken the Hadith and the Quran and simplified it for us, inshallah. So, brothers, this particular topic is so vast and so deep. I'd like to go right, before we start this presentation, to recite Surah Fatiha, for definitely starting from Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to Maula Ali to Ahlul Bayt, to all the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, to the ilm which came from Hazrat Qutb Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani radiallahu anhu, to Hazrat Qutb Bab Muhyiddin radiallahu anhu, to Hazrat Qutb Sultan Arifin Dai Kalima Tayyiba, Hazrat Khwaja Sayyid Muhammad Shah Qadri Chisti Yamani Qadir Rahmatullah Alayh, from whom we are covering a major topic of the secrets of the color and the tajalli of the Kalima Tayyiba. And to all the mashaykhs of the blessed Naqshbandriya, Qadriya, Chistiya, Sorwardi, Jarai Tariqats, to name few of the revered names of these tariqats: Khwaja Garib Nawaz, Sultan Awliya al-Hind, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Shahabuddin Sorwardi, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Baba Farid, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Nizamuddin Awliya, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Sabir Pia, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Zinda Ali Madar, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Haji Malang Baba, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Pir Adil, radiallahu anhu, Hazrat Khwaja Bande Nawaz Gesu Daras, radiallahu anhu, and other blessed mashaykhs, whom I cannot name everybody because of time constraint. We recite a Surah Fatiha for them. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Amin. So we go into the first slide. We're looking at the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The basic explanation which is given in most of the tafsirs is there is none worthy of worship except for Allah, and Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. There is also explanation which is given like there is no deity worthy of worship except for Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Again, another one. And the most basic one, which is given by the Orientalistic Islamic scholars, we will talk about these things later on, this Orientalistic term and all that later on in this presentation, is there is no God but God, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. So what is the problem with the basic definition? We want to look at that. The basic definition fits sects who talk about Tawheed all the time, because their job is to scare innocent masses of committing a big sin of shirk, which will never be forgiven. So when you scare a population of hell because shirk is the biggest sin, then what happens is that you shut the door for seeking, for exploring. This kalima is the basis of our iman, and when we are given such a simplistic explanation, and we'll go to the next bullet item here and just briefly talk about it. Why is this so basic? One of the reasons is when you analyze this particular translation, that there is no one worthy of worship except Allah. That itself, right? Let's stop right there. We don't have to go to Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is still easier, but just to get there is no one worthy of worship except Allah. from a monkey mind, from a mind perspective, and Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat always calls mind the monkey mind. The mind, as we said, and I have covered this in other topics, in true meditation, you can go back into the channel and look at it, what is true meditation. That the mind always works with objects. Without an object, the mind becomes confused. So the moment we say that there is none worthy of worship other than Allah, as it is, the mind cannot create a form of Allah. So it's confused there right away. And now you say that particular confusion, and you say now you have to discard something. So when I don't even know in the first place Allah as a whole, what do I discard? So because of this basic problem, we ourselves are not able to tap to the potential of the kalima. Allah always remains a mystery, and which shouldn't be. And we are, brothers and sisters, in this particular presentation, going to go to the depth of each and every letter of the kalima. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Each one we're going to go and analyze it, so that we understand what this kalima actually means, and it becomes a source of power for our life. It becomes the tayyib for our life. It cleanses me. And as we said, going back to the issue that the moment I look at Allah as an object, because there is no other option here, because I have to discard everything other than Allah. So I have to look at Allah from an object perspective. And I end up in the duality mode. And we talked about this in other presentations in detail, the mode of duality where I separate from Allah. That Allah in the seven heavens, beyond the seven heavens, we talk about that, in the other presentations of Miraj, where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went for the journey, right, from the first heaven, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, Sidratul Muntaha, then to the Arsh, and we have the whole explanation. So if you go and look at there, finally we come to the point that unless I see Allah within my own self, that the nur of Allah within my own self, after going through the limitation of the physical body which I have, there is no way I can discard something, because then I have to, if I'm in the duality mode that Allah is separate from me or above the seven heavens, then I already bound Allah in the space and time realm. So the moment I bound somebody which is infinite in space and time realm, then it is not Allah anymore. So brothers and sisters, and I put this word Wahdatul Wajud here, which is the unity of existence. We'll cover it briefly in this presentation. If I have to just talk about Wahdatul Wajud, will be another 1 hour. But just briefly, few slides in the back, we will touch on it. So at least at this point, we do agree. I hope we do agree that we cannot reach Allah through our mind, through our monkey mind, because that is object oriented and it's a limitation of the monkey mind. Okay. So we say that Kalima Tayyiba is so powerful, right? The weight of the 18,000 universes on one side and Kalima Tayyiba on the other side of a balance, Kalima Tayyiba will be heavier. Now again, when you think about this, and this is again, from our Islamic sources, right? So how do you now try to figure out this 18,000 universes on one side and the Kalima Tayyiba on the other side? How can it be heavier? Even though you know it's a true statement, but then how does it make sense to you from a mind perspective? And brothers and sisters, we're going to come back to this particular question later on, inshallah, where hopefully, by the end of this presentation, you yourself you'll be able to answer this particular question without me telling you. And brothers and sisters, please, these topics are so vast and so deep, so it takes time. So definitely I cannot rush through this topic. So if somebody is interested in listening, I would suggest please break it up into smaller portions. It's online. You can always go back, 3 or 4 sessions and complete it, inshallah. Okay, so we continue here. So our problem, this is a defining a problem statement. So we are saying that the person who recites the kalima nowadays is not able to cleanse himself of negative qualities, has trouble dealing with challenges in life, relationship issues, behavioral issues, communication problems, depression, sadness. Now these issues are not just for Muslims, right? It's for whole of mankind, because somehow we have lost connection with our creator. And that's where what we are coming down to. We have somehow got caught up in the materialistic pursuits of life, and maybe we have forgotten our basics. So that's what we are doing here. Is there a deeper meaning of kalima that the next time I recite it with complete realization, I tap it into the kudrat or the power of this kalima? In one of the hadiths of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that the Jannat is promised for the one who recites the kalima during his end, during when he is dying, inshallah. Each one of us who believes in this kalima, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the final messenger, Khatamun Nabi, and if we believe in this, we are believers, then we should be a role model to the humanity. But then if you look at our own Muslim community, we are engulfed in problems. There is so much of division, finger pointing, as we said in the previous slides, individual issues, behavioral issues, and we still have the Kalima Tayyiba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave this Kalima the name of Tayyiba, which is the one that purifies. So this is a contradiction right there. The essence of true faith is an undoubting love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then and only now, then the amal, that is our actions, will have the desired effect. This is a statement. And today the iman has been weakened, and what is left is lifeless, ritualistic gymnastics remain, which I don't have to go deep into. So again, brothers and sisters, let us go through in depth each word and understand the inner meaning of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before we dive straight into this topic, we want to spend a couple of slides here about Allah. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that from a presentation perspective, it is complete. And also that it is not that we are saying that we don't know Allah, that Allah is object oriented. No, we definitely know Allah, but do we realize the inner meaning or the dimension of the kalima? So let us briefly go through few slides. There is not much discussion needed. You just have to read through it. So again, Allah is one. He's the creator, protector, sustainer. Is unique. He's ever living, all knowing, all seeing, all hearing, all powerful. He's before and after. He's Ya Awwal. He did not become. He was always. So he was always there. So he's Ya Akhir also. For Allah to create a fly and 18,000 universes together is the same thing, same effort. Kun faya kun. Be and it happens. Ordinary men fear the punishment and the wrath of Allah. Prophets, messengers, enlightened souls are in awe of Allah's majesty, His almightiness, His greatness, His grace. Allah's commands, audiences, judgments apply to all His creation. He has no partner, no wife, no children. He neither eats nor drinks. He begets and he is not begotten. He neither exists in any place nor in any time. He is neither in any physical realm on the earth or the heaven, on the left or the right. He is independent of basic emotions, like he doesn't fear anybody, that he's not saddened, he does not change, and he's free from all defects. And he is self-existent. And brothers and sisters, he's unknown to every one of us, and whatever little we know is come from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we got to agree on that too. Alhamdulillah. Allah is the only constant. No one can influence him, can dominate him, or judge him. He needs no one, yet all of the creation needs him. No good or harm can come to him, even if all the sinners become obedient or all the faithless brought faith in him. He would not have created the 18,000 universes if it was not for the creation of his beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He loves me 70 times more than my own mother who gave me birth loves me. He created us so that we can know him, experience the grace of Allah through the guidance and help of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. A mu'min loves Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than his own self. In a hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "None of you will have faith till he loves me more than his own father, his children, and all of mankind." This is in Bukhari Sharif. Qalbul Mu'min is the arsh of Allah. Here Allah explains, even from a physical perspective, how close He is to us. So in this surah, Allah Ta'ala says, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ وَتُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Allah is saying that He is more closer to me than my own jugular vein. So, brothers and sisters, there is a picture that is put on the slide which is showing us the jugular vein. So, have a look at that, and then the question that we have to ask us ourselves is, what governs my basic nature? Is it God consciousness or my monkey mind generating the ego, which in turn generates the psychological drama that we go through in life? The reason why we are taking this ayat and comparing is because if Allah says He's so close to us, more closer than the jugular vein is right in our throat, so close to us, then why are we not getting the qualities of Allah infused into us if He's so close to us? Why is He still so separate from us? And the bigger question is that when Allah says the statement that He's closer to me than my own jugular vein, why are we still looking for Allah in the heavens? That's the bigger question. So let's continue here, that after Allah created the physical body from earth, fire, water, air, and ether, and Kutubah Muhyiddin talks about it in a lot of details. Here we are just covering this thing uh, from the point of view of the Kalima. And Allah Ta'ala says that وَنَفَسْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِ, that after I created the physical body, I breathed my soul into him, into his human body. So every person that who is born after Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and Awwa, we all know that 4 months and 10 days into our conception in our mother's womb, the angel comes and breathes the soul into our body. and that's the soul which we are currently with, which is, you know, connected to the body, and that's the reason we're still alive. And this nafs, or this the Allah said, I breathe my soul into you. At this point, that nafs is called nafs al natika. The reason why it is purified and the perfected soul at this stage. Okay. So having said that, let's go to the next slide. Here we start our analysis that we've been talking about. We say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So let's look at what is La. What are we rejecting here? In the Arabic language, La is a very strong word. So if you are having a conversation with somebody, whose mother tongue is Arabic, and you ask for him, can I have this, and he says La, means that means it's the done deal, you know. So stop right there. When Allah starts his kalma with Allah, we need to know what is he expecting from us. What is he expecting for us to reject? Unfortunately, as we said, the basic kalima is La ilaha illallah. There is none worthy of worship other than Allah, and we know the attributes of Allah. We know He has created the heavens and the earth. We have the 99 names, everything. But from a kalma perspective, what are we trying to reject here? So that I use this kalma tayyiba in my life and I become pure. Whatever explanation, brothers and sisters, is given here is coming from a Sufi perspective. Okay. And I have already given the names of all the references in the slide when we recited Surah Fatiha. The first tajalli is la, against to reject, and reject what? The color of this is black. The maqam is nafs, which is the I-ness. This is the nafs which is filled with zulmat, or which is filled with oppression. The ayat of the Quran which talks about this nafs, and this nafs is called as nafs ammara, is Surah Yusuf, ayat number 53. Innal nafsu al ammaratu bisu. Now this nafs, what are the qualities of this nafs? This nafs, it means that ammara means that we are subjugated by it. So somebody who is in that particular state of nafse ammara, he is subordinate to it. The kalima of this nafs is la, which is no to goodness. So here we are looking at, brothers and sisters, we are looking at the kalima from a spiritual perspective, the state of the seeker. Okay, so that's what we are talking about. Again, the ayat is Innal nafsa al ammarat bisu. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the physical body and he commanded the ruh to enter the body, and Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat talks about it. He said that the body itself, the physical body, has 4 trillion energy levels and impurities in it. And the soul had to descend from the top of the forehead, go downwards to the end of the spinal cord, to the end of the tip of the spinal cord. And the ruh could not enter. It stopped right there. It couldn't enter through the skull. When the baby is born, you'll always see that on the top of the head of the baby, the skull, it's a very soft spot. That is where the ruh enters. So for the ruh, to the pure ruh that we said in the previous slide, the pure and the purified and the perfect soul, when it's trying to enter the body with 18, 4 trillion uh, impurities and energy levels, for it to enter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had to take the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the tajalli of the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and imprint on the forehead of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, so that the soul could proceed its downward journey from the tip of the head to the bottom of the spinal cord. So that is where, our spinal cord, brothers and sisters, the spinal cord is the place where everything happens. Everything else like the hands and the legs and the feet, digestive organs, everything is supporting the function, the brain and the spinal cord, the stem. That is where all the processing happens. So all the ruhaniyat, the energy levels, the subtle bodies, everything is connected to the spinal cord. Every other organ is supporting it. It has different functions, but it's like the CPU of a computer, the central processing of the computer. For us, it's the brain and the spinal cord. It controls everything in our body. So the ruh is connected through the spinal cord, brothers and sisters. So to this nur of nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam, angels was asked to do sajda, and hence we are human beings are ashraful makhlukat. And why we are ashraful makhlukat, the best of creation? Because this nur would come in human form as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the appointed time, as in the progeny of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and hence we are ashraful makhlukat, brothers and sisters. Okay, so Allah could have chosen Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's nur to come in any form, but because he chose human form and he said it's the best of creation, and the reason being that Huzur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam is coming in that form. Okay. Now we all know the ayat of the Quran says kullu nafsin za'iqatul maut. Why we are talking about this ayat is because here Allah Ta'ala says that all nafs will taste death. Now brothers and sisters, this nafs is connected to shaitan, and the shaitan is made from fire. The house of it, we are talking again, this is a Sufi perspective. The house of that is gallbladder. The shaitan resides in the gallbladder. The door of this is nafs, its ear. And there is a reason why the ear wax is bitter to taste. Again a Sufi perspective, brothers and sisters. Fire, when it activates, when it becomes active, it burns everything down, blackens the environment. It's like anger is fire from fire too. When somebody gets angry, then definitely the situation around him is not contributing good to him or to the people around him. The nafse amara sifat is, what is the sifat? What is the quality of nafse amara? A person who has a quality of nafse amara is always wanting, he desires something. Something what? Not spirituality or goodness. It is, he's desiring something material satisfaction, pleasure oriented from an object perspective. The five inputs, the five senses which are given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hearing, seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, these are the five senses which are given to to the human body and also to the animals, so that they can survive in this material world that we are in the dunya. But then when we use these five senses for doing something which is not allowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is where the sin happens. And that is why people sin, not because they like sinning, but there is a pleasure always associated with sin in a negative way. If somebody was getting pain when he sins, you'll never do it. So there is a negative pleasure, even though from a body perspective, some hormones get generated, secreted, whether it is somebody who is drinking or smoking or taking drugs or whatever it is, or illegal man-woman relation. There's always pleasure associated with it, and that is what brings the human being down. So this type of nafs, a person who has the sign of this type of nafs, a person, he's addicted to it, he will sin willingly. He will have no remorse about what he's doing. And you know, this is the quality that Allah is saying la to, brothers and sisters. That's what we're trying to get to here. So let's look at the qualities of nafse ammara. We said in the bracket in red, it says violent and self-destructive. Now, violence doesn't mean that you always take a gun or a sword in your hand or go and harm somebody. Having negative qualities within one's own self is you are being violent to your own self. You are being self-destructive to your own self. So this commanding soul, the soul at this particular level, the who's connected to the nafs or the qualities, it is not that the soul commands, but rather itself is commanded by a host of impulses or lower desires, which is shaitaniyat. So let's quickly go through this some of the negative qualities. Pride, takabbur. We can describe, for the next half an hour, how what contributes to pride and different types of pride. The one which I want to just cover here quickly, brothers and sisters, I'm not here to lecture anybody. I'm also in my own journey, right? So I'm not saying I'm free from all these things, no. But I just want to, you know, impart this particular ilm so that at least I benefit from it and you also benefit from it. So let's look at takabbur or pride. Now, pride can be, for because I'm a rich guy, or my status in society and all that. Leave all these things aside. Let's go into one of the basic things that happens when I have an ego. One of the reasons that Allah has his own hukum, his own commands, do's and don't do's and everything. Why people go against it is because the ego comes back and says you have a free will to do things. So brothers and sisters, do we really have a free will? We have to question ourselves. you know After this life, and this is not a infinite life on this earth, you go into the grave. Whose world is that? Is Allah's world? What is, how long it's after that for qiyamah? We don't know. He's going to give you a body again. He's going to put you in hell or heaven. All these things come up, and then literally you come to the conclusion that maybe I have a perception, not reality, that I have a free will. Just a perception for some time, 60 to 70 to 70 years of our life. Even Firaun, he was so proud of his kingdom, and he said ana rabbukum al-ala, I'm as high as Allah, right? And in his own arrogance. And when he was dying, at the depth of the Red Sea, when he was drowning, he was in a pathetic state, and Allah preserved his body till today as a sign to humanity. So the question is, now his soul is where? It's in the torments, right? So did he have a free will? He thought he had, but it was his ego which was actually misguiding him. And the pride, brothers and sisters, this is so difficult to analyze. From a Sufi perspective, we have to go into our meditative state, analyze our own selves, my own behavior, when I'm in the wake state, and say I'm giving this topic, I'm talking about this thing, and I get a pride that, oh, you know what, I'm so superior to other people who are listening to this thing. The right then and there, my ego has taken me for a ride. Because Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat says that the worst kind of arrogance is the arrogance of religion, where the person thinks that he's so close to God, or to Allah, or to Huzur Akram Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to Isa Alayhi Salatu Wasalam, or to Musa Alayhi Salatu Wasalam, or I'm the chosen person, and so I'm going to heaven. That's the worst kind of arrogance, Baba said. Because if you're truly connected to Allah and you are a saintly person, then the first quality you should have is humbleness. So, brothers and sisters, if you find a person who says he's connected to Allah, is awliya, and you don't find he's humble, then just run away from him. He's a fake guy at that point. Okay. Let's look at greed. Greed again, comes from a sense of ownership, right? If we know that we came empty-handed and we're going to leave this world empty-handed, sense of ownership is there or not there. There are some tools, like we have a house or we have a car, we have a bike. That's a tools that we have to use to survive in this world. We are, creation and we have responsibility. So to fulfill that responsibility, we need to, you know, make use of the material things that in the world. So there is a saying, it says, it's a beautiful saying, that we have enough for the necessity of every individual on this planet, but we don't have enough to fulfill every luxury of every human being on this planet. So if we are all, reflect within our own selves, what is that we need, what is the necessity, then necessity is really much less, compared to, the luxury that we looking for. Okay. Again, when greed is there, jealousy, the next one automatically comes in. If we are in a state of humility and we surrender to Allah, to the will of Allah, jealousy cannot come close to us. Shaitan was jealous because, Adam was created, right? If he surrendered to Allah said, bow in front of the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam when it was imprinted on the forehead of Adam, and he surrendered in humility. Ya Allah, you know it better that the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is from your own qalb, and the nur was with you, within you, and it was the first to be created. Then, there's no problem there. So the moment that, the I-ness comes in, the ego comes in, the jealousy is also there. Lust, next one. Again, lust is again, coming from the lower energies. We all have hormones, and provided it is channeled in the right way, it is okay. But if it is channeled in the wrong way, it is a problem. And I don't want to talk about this. We all know about it. Backbiting, gibbat, again, we know. This also comes from, greed and jealousy, all combined, because, that's a competition now, right? Backbiting because, I don't like somebody, or likes, dislikes, so bad behavior. Stinginess, you know, one of the reasons that, there may be a person who is so rich that he's stingy. Oh, I earned my money, I worked hard for it. The sense of belonging is there, right? So, so for him to part from his wealth, why should I do it, that kind of thing. Again, it's a sense of, attachment that creates stinginess. If you know that the breath that you're taking in, you cannot take it out without the kudrat of Allah, the heart that is beating every second, we know that, we have no control over about these bodily functions, this involuntary functions, then we know who is in control, right? So then where is the stinginess coming? If you find a person who is in need and you can help out, you would do it. The empathy would be there. Malaise, again, lack of empathy, connection to fellow human beings, to animals around us. Superiority complex. Haram, as prescribed by Sharia, lack of taqwa, you know, because, God consciousness is not there. Shirk, again, shirk means to combine something, right? And the word shirk that, which we are made to scare about, that the shirk that to associate partners with Allah. And we're going through that, we are trying to decipher the kalima. So we are looking at the law, right? So shirk again here is inni akbar. When we stand in we say prayer, we say Allahu Akbar. We are saying Allah is Akbar. And I finish my prayer, I says Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah and Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah on the right and left. After that, I go to my wife, I am the Akbar at that time. I go and yell at my children, I am the Akbar at that time. I want everybody to respect me, I am the Akbar at that time. Right there, I am creating shirk, right? So that's associating partners with Allah, because just few minutes before I said Allah is Akbar, and now I am Akbar. Kufr is rejection or hiding truth. And brothers and sisters, this topic, I'm putting this on the internet. I know there, very few topics, or presentations would be there on the internet which talks about this in detail. Is because if I hide it, if I don't put it on the internet, right? If I don't put my effort in, because, the mashaikhs have helped me with this ilm, and I'm just trying to share it. If I hide it, I'm doing kufr in a way, because I'm hiding the truth. I'm not rejecting it because I accept it. That's the reason I'm putting it on the internet. But if I hide it from you, I don't share it, it's also kufr. So it can either come from ignorance, rejecting comes from ignorance, but hiding it also comes from arrogance. Okay. So for the seeker, brothers and sisters, we are coming to the end of the slide. For the seeker, the first law is to what? Reject. The reject all the negative qualities within us, the violence in the thoughts, intentions, actions. So violence, again, the definitions of violence doesn't mean what you see on the TV. No, the violence, these negative qualities within us is violent in nature because it actually kills us within our own self. We don't understand that, having these negative qualities, we think that, it is pertaining to the outside. No, actually it is harming us first, the most, before it harms anybody else outside. In fact, when you go to the deep level of meditation, these negative qualities don't harm the outside world, brothers and sisters. If you have negative qualities, that's harming your own self. Nobody else outside gets harmed by it. Because we have to ultimately answer Allah. And that is what Allah is saying here. The law is you have to go and negate all these qualities. It is not la ilaha. And we have to go through the ilah and ilaha and illallah and all that. But the point here is that what does the la Allah mean is get rid of these negative qualities, because this is the kalima of purification. Okay. We have to remind ourselves about this kalima again. What is Allah saying? La for what? Not there is no God but God, or there is no deity worthy of worship than Allah. No. The lie with is I, as a human being with a soul, I have to get rid of these negative qualities, because this is the qualities of nafse ammara at the lower level of the shaitaniyat. All right. Now, where does this nafse ammara belongs to? It belongs in alame nasut. Alams are different worlds. We are in the dunya. Okay. We are all in the dunya together right now. And Allah says this alam is the alam of the devils. So, brothers and sisters, if somebody is trying to create heaven on earth, it's not going to happen. This is alame haywaniyat. Haywaniyat means of the devils, and that's the dunya. We are at the center. Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat says that we are at this dunya is at the center. There are 7 worlds above, 7 worlds below. Okay, but still it is called halame haywaniyat, and we have come here for a very short duration so that we get the wisdom and we go back, and we're going to complete that journey in this slides. The qualities of this alam, of what we belong to: eating, drinking, sleeping, waking, seeing, hearing. This is all outbound for a person who is in the nafs ammara state. Okay, the nafs which is inclined towards evil. Okay, the internal journey of who am I, what am I, has not started for this particular nafs. Of for particular nafs means a being. Okay, how to overcome this nafs? We're going to talk about in detail, but here just to complete this slide, intention, first the intention, right? Without intention, nothing will happen. If I have a bad habit, if I don't have the intention to correct it, the world outside cannot correct me. No amount of counseling will correct me. I have to have the intention I want to improve. The intention first within my own self to make a move towards goodness, to conquer a bad quality, right? Zikr ilahi. We can do different zikrs. Zikr lisani from the tongue, and we talk about that. Recitation of holy books. Tasawwur sheikh. A sheikh is who? Sheikh is somebody who has gone through his spiritual cleansing, broken his nafs, and he's at a state that where he can teach other people. Fahm sheikh, murshid, good company. Always, um, um, you can identify a person, or size up a person based on the friends he has. Very simple. Get connected to enlightened beings in the physical and the spiritual realm. So when you go into higher levels of meditation and when you get connected to the soul, the time space limitation of the earth is gone. You can get connected to, and I have talked about this in the shirk and biddat presentation in the YouTube channel. You can go and look at it. When you go to the mazars or the tombs of the Sufi saints or the kutubs, and if you go into deeper meditation, you can connect to their soul and you can get answers to questions that you have, provided you go to higher levels, right? Again, it's a process of self discovery. So it all depends upon what is your criteria or what is your priority in your life. Every human being has been created equally by Allah. So somebody have materialistic benefits, or pursuits more, and somebody has a balanced life, or somebody is completely towards spirituality. So it all depends upon human preferences, right? So to get out of this nafse amara, develop a deep love and connection to Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to Panjatan Pak, to Maula Ali, Maula Hassan, Maula Hussein, Umma Fatima Zahra, Umma Amina, Umma Khadija, Abba Abdullah. These are blessed souls, brothers and sisters. To Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu, Uthman Ghani radiallahu anhu. These are blessed souls. You connect to them, all you get is goodness. Okay. Start your journey of self-realization. And most importantly, when you do start the journey, two things are needed: sincerity and surrender. That's all you're asked for. You're not asked how much zikr you know, what you know. No, not needed. You're asked two things: be sincere and surrender. Again, a little bit about the dunya where Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and Ummah Awwa were sent down to from heaven. Right? They were in heaven and the divine descent happened. And where are we right now? We are in Alam-e Nasut, at the lower heaven. Oh, sorry, in the dunya, which is called the Alam-e Haywaniyat. The Adam alayhi questioned Allah that if he was destined to sin, right? Because we all know that there was a forbidden tree, and he was not. He was asked by Allah that don't go near this tree, and Shaitan tempted him, and Shaitan actually tricked Adam alayhi Ummah Awwa, because Adam alayhi was a pure soul. If he was told that we will build you, when you eat this fruit from this tree, you will get more material benefits. Well, you are already in Jannah. What material enticement is going to make Adam alayhi salatu wasalam or Ummah fall? Shaitan's pretext of asking Adam alayhi salatu wasalam to go against Allah is saying was that if you eat this fruit, you will get more closer to Allah, and you will get an eternal and a much blissful life. If Shaitan, I had promised that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam that what, if you eat this fruit, you're going to get a mansion in paradise. What's that going to do? You're already in paradise. Why do you need a mansion now? Maybe in the dunya that may be a better attraction, but not in the paradise. You're already in paradise. So a materialistic enticement would not have worked for Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. So Shaitan used the pretext that if you eat this fruit, you're going to become much more divine and more eternal and more closer to Allah. And that's how he got tricked. Now, Adam alayhi salatu wasalam questioned Allah that so he was destined to be to sin, and he was to be brought down from the heaven to the lower world of dunya. Then why was he placed in Jannah in the first place? And the answer that Allah gave is that so that you will realize and your progeny will realize that you belong to Jannah. That is your home. The place where you are right now in is a temporary existence, and you've been cast down. So your job is to come back up. Okay, and that's the journey we're talking about. And that journey, brothers and sisters, pertains directly to the kalima. So we are at the lowest level at alame nasut, alame haywaniyat. And if I have a nafs of nafse amara, which is inclined towards evil, the first law is to negate all the negative qualities that we talked about, okay, of the kalima. Now, Shaitan knew when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and Hawa was being, they were descending to the earth. He made sure that he had a reception party. I want to just tell you how Shaitan, one thing, Umma Rabitul Adawi, she was one of the Kalandars, a Sufi Kalandar. Kalandar is somebody directly connected to Maula Ali. And she was so positive as a woman, but she went through untold suffering, brothers and sisters. And I have covered about this in other presentations, but you know and she always looked at positive from every situation. If so, it's like, if you have a water in a glass, instead of looking at half empty, you look at it half full. So somebody asked Rabitul Ladwi that what quality would you positive quality would you learn from Shaitan? you know It's an amazing question. So her answer was amazing too. She said persistence. Whatever that fellow is, he's very persistent. So Shaitan, when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam and Hawa were destined to come to earth, he already made sure he came to the earth before, and he got all the wild animals, lions and tigers, they were all already there before, right? you know they got all of them together and said, guys, this guy, this Adam is going to come down, and he's so intelligent, then after some time he's going to start killing you guys. Okay, so before he does that, you attack him and finish him off, because Shaitan wanted Adam to perish right away. So that's what happened when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam descended in. He descended in Sri Lanka. There's Adam's Peak there. In fact, there is a rock. I've been there. There's a rock on this. The impression of the foot of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam is there. And Hawa, there's one riwayat that says she descended in Jeddah. Another says in South Africa. But they met again, as we know that in Hajj in Arafah. They met in Arafah. They spent the first night in prayer and in Tawbah in Muzdalifah. That's where we spend our night after Arafah. And then the Hajj rituals. So when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam descended, he was surrounded by the wild animals, and they were about to attack him. At that time, who came to rescue is a dog came to rescue. The dog is also a creation of Allah. Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat talks about this very beautifully. He says when the human body is created by from the 28 Arabic letters, and these are all Sufi secrets, brothers and sisters. So you won't find this in the Sharia point of view. So for example, I'm just giving an example. The skull is created from Jim. The brain is created from Meme. We covered the brain part of it in the Miraj presentation. If you go and look at it, the forehead is created from Thaw. So every part of the nose ridge is bridge is created from Alif. The throat is created from Lam. And there is a book of Zikr, the remembrance of God, from Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat, and it's got a beautiful picture also with the entire 28 letters and how Allah created the human body. The point is that when Adam was created in the first place, Shaitan spit on him, right? If I covered this in previous presentation, I don't want to waste much time here. There's a lot to cover here. So when he spit on him, the all the poisonous qualities started seeping into the body of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. So Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam and he spit it right at the point of the navel. Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam went and picked up flesh from there and threw it out. Now the navel part of the human body is created from the letter Waw. Okay, that Waw. So the letter, because he took the flesh from there, the letter Waw got disconnected from the human body. That Waw, when he threw it, it landed on the nose of the dog. That's the reason Baumuddin Hazrat said, Kutub said that the nose of the dog is the most cleanest part of the entire dog. The rest of the part of the dog is filthy. Okay, you have to clean yourself if you touch it and all that. So that is the reason that the dog is man's best friend, because one of the Arabic letters which was used to create the human body, Wow, ended up on the nose of dog. So dog, to show the faithfulness to the man, the moment these wild animals started attacking Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, and he was totally perplexed, right? He did not expect this reception that Shaitan had it for him. Dog started barking and all the wild animals ran away. Brothers and sisters, when Baumuddin Hazrat was in the jungles of Sri Lanka, he meditated for a long time. He used to say in his book, there's a book called Tree That Fell to the West. He said that when he used to be in meditation, in the night, all these animals, lions, tigers, giraffe, wild animals, and deer and all that, they all come in and sit in circle around him, because the enlightened soul which is connected to Allah and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is like a positive energy, So the qualities of that enlightened soul is the positive qualities of Allah and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and that automatically just, it's like magnetic, it permeates into every living organism. And all these animals, wild animals, they lose their quality of the wildness or the, and they were sitting together, like a deer is sitting next to a lion, and they would sit mesmerized looking at the kutub. And in the morning the kutub would say, why don't you go and go and have your food and go about doing your duty, and they would dispose of. But he said every night they used to come and do that because they used to feel the peace which is coming from this enlightened soul. So brothers and sisters, that is our true self. Think about it, that if person like us go into the jungles of Africa, the animals will come and kill us, because that is what the negative qualities, the law that we are carrying within us, and the animals can sense it. Animals sees enlightened souls, they fall at their feet. There's so many stories, even Sufi stories, and from previous ummat also, when enlightened beings goes into jungle, even a wild animal will come and lick its feet, right? Again, brothers and sisters, why we are in this world, right? We are in this world because we only learn from opposites. We can only appreciate a day when there is night. We can appreciate summer, especially in America, where the summer is for 4 months, because we know winter is bad, right? So we can appreciate the formless when we come in form. So from temporary existence to eternal existence. So that's the underlying meaning of the kalima. So the lies negate all the qualities that we develop within ourselves because of our ego, which is temporary, which generates the sense of a personality. We have to negate that. That is what we have to negate, brothers and sisters, and not, there is no God but God. No. Okay. So that's the meaning of la. The second tajalli is ilah. So a seeker, who is in this path, he works hard, you know, and to best of his ability, he contains the negative qualities. Now he gets into ilah. This is the second stage. Through spiritual practices, sacrifices, trials, and tribulations, he tries to walk on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Yahdina Sirat al-Mustaqim. He starts living alam-e nasut, which is the alam of the haywaniyat, which is, we said, which is connected to the dunya, the negative qualities of dunya. And he gets into to the next is the alame malkut. This is the second level. Okay, now we are going, we descended from the heaven to the lowest. Now we're going back. Okay, there is the alame nasut, alame malakut, alame jabrut, alame lahut, alame yahut, alame hahut. Okay, there are different levels, and we're going to go through that. So we're going to the second one, right? So from after the divine descent, alame nasut, now we're going to alame malkut. The sifat, or the qualities of malaika, samena watana, they listen and they obey. Very important, the next one, the libas, which is the sharia. What is needed to get from alame haywaniyat into alame malakut, to the level of angels. Remember, brothers and sisters, when Adam alayhi salam was created, Allah asked the angels to bow in front of Adam. Allah will never tell them to do that if Adam is not superior than the angels. Okay, so the libas of that, or the ladder for that, is Sharia. Extremely important. That is the sets of rules and regulations and way of life foundation, which will take you from alame haywaniyat into alame malakut. The color of that is white, and that's the reason you see ilah is written as white. The maqam, or the place, is the qalb, which is on the left hand side of Adam alayhi salam. The element from which it is created is nur. We know the first one, alame nasut, was created from fire. This one is nur, nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. House, what is here? House is tafakkur, reflection. Okay, thought. Door is heart. Heart again pertains to desire. Desire always doesn't mean bad. Desire to become good is also a good desire. Okay. Angel which will help you at this stage is Jibreel Islam. Why? The Wahi came from Jibreel Islam through to all the prophets, from Adam Islam, Nuh Islam, Ibrahim Islam, Musa Islam, Isa Islam. You name all the prophets, Jibreel Islam brought the Wahi. So angel who helps you at this point is because the Sharia again comes from the Quran, or Sharia of Musa Islam came from Torah. For every Nabi was given a book. For us, it came from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, from Quran. Who brought it? Angel Jibril. So the help comes from this angel. This is the nafse lawama. Okay. And what is the naf? This is the self-accusing soul at this point. A slide here, it says, if pain wasn't the biggest blessing, why would Allah give it to the most beloved subjects, his prophets? And the reason why is because when you start living this particular, the alam-e nasut, the lowest level, then definitely when you move towards goodness, there'll be some kind of, some amount of testing. In a from a Sanatana Dharma point of view, it is karma. They say, Sanchita karma, prarabdha karma, kriya karma, agma karma. I have read these philosophies, and it's mashallah beautiful to know about these things, right? So um, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, before he was born, we're just saying that, the most perfect human being, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Khatamun Nabi, when he was born, before he was born, his father passed away. He lost his mother when he was 6. He was an orphan. Grandfather Abu Muttalib radiallahu anhu took care of him. He died before Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam reached the age of 10. Raised by his uncle Abu Talib radiallahu anhu. And again, I call him Hazrat Abu Talib radiallahu anhu. You can go to Mankuntum Mawla presentation and listen to it why I call him Hazrat Abu Talib radiallahu anhu. Okay, I don't want to spend time here. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had 6 children. He buried 5 of them with his own hands. Think about it, brothers and sisters. The most difficult thing for a parent, if you are a parent, to bury your child is the most difficult. To bury 5 out of 6 children that you had before you die. Then he buried his own most beloved Ummah Khadijatul Kubra. Then he buried his uncle Abu Talib radiallahu anhu. He went through untold sufferings to spread the deen. We know about these things. The shahadat of his grandchildren, Maula Hassan and Hussein, was foretold to him. Allah revealed it to him. Jibreel Islatu Islam told him that Maula Hassan is going to be shaheed. Somebody is going to poison him. Maula Hussein is going to be beheaded. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to kiss the for the lips of Maula Hassan, and he used to kiss the lips of the neck of Maula Hussein. And even when at the time of his death, brothers and sisters, he was saying, Ya Ummati, Ya Ummati, Ya Ummati. He's still asking Allah for, for our own maghfirat. Think about it, brothers and sisters. So, there's something to reflect on, The nafs at this stage is nafs lawama. And what's nafs lawama means? Is the self-accusing nafs, And we're going to talk about it briefly here. Again, brothers and sisters, these are very deep topics, and I'm really rushing through it just so that I can complete it. Okay. Otherwise, it will be a long, very long presentation. So this is the second level of nafs, which is nafs lawama. It says, Wala uksimu bil yawm al qiyamah, wala uksimu bil nafs al lawama. This nafs does, the person who has this kind of nafs, he does sins sometimes, he falls, but the nafs self incriminates him, oh, why did I do it, and he feels bad about it. It feels guilty about it. It's a mashallah, definitely much better nafs than nafs lawama, nafs amara, which just does sin blatantly, it doesn't care because it has no God consciousness. Here the nafs does wrong, in once in a while it slips, but then he regrets, makes tawbah. So whenever the guilt increases to such an extent, then the person will leave the sin. As we said, he makes tawbah. And I want to cover a beautiful incident that happened during the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The tawbah of a sahabi. Again, brothers and sisters, the reason why I don't want to name the sahabi is out of respect, deep respect and reverence for the sahabi. The topic I'm saying is about the sahabi is not like a very positive one, but still I don't want to reveal his name because I may also get into my arrogance saying that, oh, you know what, he sinned in front of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or when he was there, and I'm so pure, in Auzubillah, the dust that settled on the feet of the Sahabi is better than my own existence. So this Sahabi, he was a young boy, like young adult, 20 years old, and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was in Madinah Munawwara, and he asked the Sahabi to run an errand, go to a neighboring village in Medina and do some work and come back soon. So this Sahabi, it was a day's journey, so he went, early in the morning. Now, while he was coming back, he was a little thirsty. So he was passing through a village. It happened that there was a tent, and he's thirsty, so he's looking for water. So there was a tent, and he heard somebody taking a shower, and it was quite natural, right? It's in the desert, middle of the desert. He's on a camel, so he went in towards the tent. He got down from his mount. He went towards the tent, and he peeked into the tent. What he saw was, he's a young boy. He saw was a woman who was taking shower bath, and he saw her. She's taking a shower. Now, because he saw her in an inappropriate state, he started shivering. Think about it, brothers and sisters, and immediately ran onto this camel mount and started, galloping away, because now the fear engulfed him. He said, by the time I reach Madinah Munawwara, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to reveal an ayat against me. Think about it, brothers and sisters. The amount of love that these Sahabis had for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the God consciousness. It makes us ashamed of ourselves, how we sin, openly. Now, this Sahabi did not have the courage to go back to Madinah Munawwara. Brothers and sisters, he was gone for one day, right? So he didn't have enough food with him, or he didn't prepare for a long journey. So he spends few days roaming around in the villages around Medina, and then, he still couldn't, get in terms with this small sin that he just peaked. He's thirsty. He's looking for water. He heard somebody water dropping somewhere. He went inside. He peeked inside tent, and somebody, unfortunately, he saw a Muslima, a woman in inappropriate condition, and that was it. It was just one glance, but he couldn't get in terms to himself that I can go back to Madinah Munawwara, brothers and sisters. So what happens again? He spends some time there. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam gets worried. He sends a group of Sahabis go and look for him. They go look for him in the villages around. They don't find him. They come back. Says, no, Ya Rasulullah, we did not find him. He said Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was not satisfied. Then he sends Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu and Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu, the two golden Sahabis, and said, you better come back with him. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has ilmul ghaib, right? So he knows he's alive. So you better come back with him. So they go. They go looking for him on the villages like the other Sahabis didn't find him. Then Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu told Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, let's look in the wilderness. So they start going. Now you're combing the deserts, right? And it's so difficult, right? Miles and miles of deserts. They come to a shepherd who was sitting, and and there was sheep grazing. They started describing to him, this is a young boy, well built, and we are missing him, and we don't know where he is. He said, oh, I know this guy, he's young, but he's very tired, and he's in a very bad shape. This fellow lives in the mountain up there, and then he comes in the evening when I'm going back home, and he takes a little bit of milk from I gifted to him from one of my goats. He drinks that and goes back. He never says anything. He puts his head down. He doesn't say anything. It's like he's in a depressive state. So he said, show us where he is. So this shepherd points it to Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu, the way. Now they go towards that direction. When they see the Sahabi, they know this is the person. The Sahabi starts running away from Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu. Then Umar, yells at him, said, what, we're going to pursue you, we're going to drag you to Medina because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said so. So finally they caught up with the Sahabi. He didn't want to come. They forced him on a camel. They dragged him back to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, to Madinah Munawwara. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is in Masjid Nabi. Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, Umar bin Khattab radhiyallahu anhu reached Masjid Nabi. Where is the Sahabi? He went to his house. He's lying down because he's so tired. He's not eaten anything for so many days. He's living in the wilderness. There's no shelter. And they tell Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that we don't know what happened, right? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says after the prayer he goes to his house. He says he sees the mashallah the Sahabi can't even have energy to get up to greet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He just raises his head. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, takes the pure Sahabi's head on his lap and says, "Oh my son, what happened?" And he narrates the whole incident. Ya Allah. He narrates the whole incident and he says, you could have come back to Medina. Allah's rahmat is so vast, He would have forgiven you. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw in his eyes that his end times was nearing. And he asked the Sahabis to recite Kalima Tayyiba. He recites the Kalima Tayyiba and he passes away in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, brothers and sisters. So, these are the blessed Sahabis, we learn from. And we are in this world now. The state in which the Sahabi passed away is Nafse Radia, and we're going to cover it. We're covering, giving the example in Nafse Lamama. Nafse Radia is at a much higher level, right? But we are covering this with this Nafse Radia is, I'll just say, Radiyallahu anhu arad one, Zalika min khashya Rabba means that, Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. That's the state. So, I'm just give this example to make you understand that what is, regret, on sin, The qualities of nafse lamama is seeking truth, seeking truthful people, trying to keep good company, trying to get close to Allah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, awliyas, kutubs, soul searching, having good intentions and trying to do good deeds. Does understand that the evil exists and if he falls prey, regrets and suffers from his fall and makes tawbah. Zikr at this stage is zikr kalbi, the kalba, zikr of the heart. The zikr in the previous state was zikr lisani, from the tongue. The need is sohbat of sheikh or a teacher to learn this path. Alame malakut. Okay, so this is where you get closer to the angelic realm, where you are streamlining yourself on Sirat al-Mustaqim. What is the amal, tasbih, tahleel, qiyam, ruku, sujud? Like the angels worship. That's like our 5-time prayer. During Ramadan, it is easy to reach alame malakut because the nafsaniyat comes down. The 5 elemental energy, brothers and sisters, is because of the food that we eat and the more energy that we have from the physical body perspective. So when we are fasting at that time, the body is a little weaker. So it's easier to do spiritual practices and to reach the alame malakut. Hazrat Sultan Bahu is one of the great Sufi sheikhs. He said that the miraj of a seeker, the miraj is, the union of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Miraj of the seeker happens only when the stomach is hungry. Angels do not eat because they are created from nur, because human beings have a earthly body with them. When they subdue their nafs, the 5 elemental body, by being hungry, they go to levels higher than angels. If they fall, they get trapped in evil. They do deeds which are worse than animals. Just to give an example, a lion does not kill another lion in the jungle. A dog never kills another dog, but a human being easily kills another human being, same species, because of hate, anger, religion, color, race, arrogance, and etc. So now we covered La ilaha. Okay. Now let's go to illallahu. The next alam is alame jabrut. So we covered alame nasut, alame malakut. Now we are in higher level. Here illallahu, the color of this particular words is the words and the letters is green. Okay. The first one was black, la. Ilaha was white and it was connected to the heart. Here it is illallahu is green. The green dome, which is the Gumbad Khazra, on top of the blessed grave of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is also green in color. That is the markaz of Alame Arwa. Okay, it's one of the most sacred spot on is the most sacred spot on earth. Angel at this stage who will help you is Israfil alayhi salam. Libas is tariqat. So from Shariat you go into tariqat. So the blessed tariqats, Naqshbandi tariqat, Qadriya tariqat, Chistiya tariqat, Sorwardi tariqat, you know, Shadaliya tariqat, all these tariqats. Okay. Maqam of this is in the Ruh. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam is Abul Bashar, is the father of the Bashar of mankind from a physical perspective. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is the Abul Arwa, that is the father of the souls. Okay, because the nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from the nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam came all the souls. House of this is lungs, element is air, door of this one is nose connected to breath. The water of this particular the of the nose is sour. Again, these are Sufi teachings. If I go to the another depth of it, it'll take time. I'll just refer it here. Ruh sifat is witness, ashadu. The Ruh always witnesses. Second kalima is ashadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashadu anna Muhammadan abdahu wa rasuluh. The fakir say, don't listen and recite the kalima. Witness the nur within yourself and then recite the kalima, because that is the because when you say witness, right, if you are you go to court and they say I need a witness of a transaction or an incident. Witness is never that I heard somebody over the phone. That is never a witness. Witness is I saw somebody, brothers and sisters. So unfortunately, at a lower level of iman, when you say ashadu, ashadu is only hearing and saying, repeating. Actual ashadu is you have to see and then say. Ashadu means I'm giving witness by seeing. Seeing what? Seeing not the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the form state. Ashadu is the seeing Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in the formless state within your own self and the nur of Allah within your own self. And then you say, and that is the miraj of the believer. And we talked about that in the miraj presentation. These are deep Sufi states that you have to reach. At that time, Ashadu makes sense, brothers and sisters. Otherwise, ashadu is, I'm giving witness for what? What I heard it from somewhere, or I looked it in a book. What ashadu is that? All right. The nafs at this stage is nafse mulhima. This is the inspired nafs. So we covered nafse ammara. We covered nafse lawama. This is nafse mulhima. The amal of this nafs is engrossed in yada ilahi. It's engrossed in the zikr of Allah, contemplating on Allah all the time. Forgets about his own existence. The zikr at this stage is zikr ruhi. The first one was zikr lisani from the tongue. The second was nafse lawama was zikr kalbi. This is zikr ruhi. This is breath zikr. The alam of the kudrat is jalali buzurgi. The seeker at this point, who are in this path, when he reaches this particular level, um, kashf or karamat happens. In this level itself, the libas, there is hakikat also. So you stand on the musalla of tariqat, okay, and then you see hakikat. So there is shariat, tariqat, hakikat, marfat, and sufiyat. So let us summarize all these three states that we covered. Okay, la ilaha illallah. As you say, la, see la, it is black in color. Ilah is white in color. Illallahu is green in color. So if you look on the bottom side, the kalb is in the center. Okay, so on the right hand side we say is alam nasut, which is the alam haywaniyat, which is the dunya. In between is alam malkut, and on the left side is the higher level, which is alam jabrut. So either you're at the lower level or you're at the kalb, the mind. So alam nasut is connected to the mind. So from the mind to the heart to the soul, that's the journey. Okay, and based on this is like a pendulum. Think about it, brothers. This in the center is the heart. Heart is white. Allah creates the heart white, pure. When the child is born, it's pure, fitra. So if it has the negative qualities and it gets rid of the negative qualities and move towards the malaikat, right, the Alam-e Malakut, and from there goes further, then it gets the qualities of Vilayat, and the Qalb becomes green in color if it goes towards the left here on this one, as far as the diagram is concerned. And if it's the negative qualities, the Qalb becomes black in color. Okay. So I think this is self-explanatory. So I will continue to the next one. The ayat of the Quran, again, brothers and sisters, this is nafse mulhima. This is the enlightened soul. Okay. For the ayat is Surah Shams, ayat number 7 and 8. Wa nafsin wa ma sawwaha wa alhama fujuraha wa taqwaha. By the soul and the proportion and the order given to it, and its enlightenment as to its wrong or right. So at this state, that it is the definitely past the alame malakut, it has got the angelic qualities, and now it is an enlightened soul. It understands spirituality, and based how much it has gained, whether it's right or wrong, it is rewarded at that time. So the kalb, the spiritual heart, what we are saying is, for every seeker, has to be made to understand the with a lot of love and wisdom to choose a life of purity and piety and piousness. When we are born, grandparents or father, they give azan and ikama on the left and right ear, right? And as far as we are concerned, that the one day of Qiyamah is 50,000 earthly years. So the gap between the for the time that we spend in the dunya, when you compare it, it is like the azan was given, and once the ikama is given and the imam says takbir al ula, says Allah Akbar, that is the time between azan and ikama is the time that we have in the dunya, right, compared to a person's whole life. So what we are told is that this is a short life and we have to prioritize ourselves rather than getting trapped into the materialistic world and not following our spiritual pursuits, and the reason why Allah created us in the first place. He sent us into the world of forms to understand the formless. We appreciate day when there is night. We appreciate heat when there is cold. Similarly, we'll appreciate the formless when we are given a form with a lot of dirt inside it. And unfortunately, what happens, the human being, once he comes into the dunya, he gets mesmerized by the dunya, and he falls trapped to it, like the Firaun and the Namruds. Everybody else falls trapped to it. And then the purpose of becoming is lost. And then what do we go back to Allah and justify our existence here? That's the question we are asking. Again, the prerequisite for the next stage, brothers and sisters. Okay, so we have covered La ilaha illallahu. The next one is Muhammadur. So before you get to Muhammad, prerequisite for the stage is a pure heart. You have to cleanse the heart with La ilaha illallah before Allah can pour the treasure of his Habib of nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to cover that as Muhammad and Rasulullah and sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So because what is ending is La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is the treasure of the nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which we're going to cover now. Before Allah pours that into your heart, into your spiritual heart, he wants the cleansing to happen. So if you really look at analyze the kalima la ilaha illallahu to the point of illallah, it's actually cleansing happening there. Okay, so for example, if you have, mothers know that, if you have pure milk, right, and you're pouring it to a vessel, you make sure the vessel is spot clean, because a smallest impurity in the vessel can spoil the milk. So similarly, before Allah pours his treasure of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wants to make sure that our heart is clean. So La ilaha illallah. So nafse lawama to nafse ammara to nafse lawama to nafse mulhima. We have to go through these three different stages. Okay. The fourth tajalli, brothers and sisters, is Muhammad, and this is red in color. The maqam is sir. Sir is secret, and Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat says the same thing, and the other mashayikh also say this is secret because in the book of Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat, which talks about the zikr, he says very clearly. He said the Emperor Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dwells in places beyond description. Okay, and this is only revealed in meditation, brothers and sisters. Okay, so I would just stop it there. Element is water. The same way as blood is to body is the tajalli or the power of this to our soul, because that is connected to nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The soul, our soul is getting nourished. See, the body, our body gets nourished by blood flowing through it, right? Because whatever we eat, it goes into the intestine. The intestines, it absorption happens and it goes into the blood, and the blood then circulates and it gives energy and nutrients to all the other parts of the body. Similarly, the tajalli of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this particular tajalli is the positive energy to our soul. Okay, the libas of this is marifat. The ilm come from Allah. The place of this is liver. The door of this is eyes. The water that comes from the eyes is salt to taste, salty to taste. The sifat of this sir of this particular level is karta, which is amar, commands to goodness. This is the duty of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He commands. He is the Khatamun Nabi. He is the seal of the prophets. He commands everybody to goodness. What is the nafs at this stage is mutmainna. Mutmainna means completely peaceful at itself. What is the function of it? It's drowned in witnessing the object of ishq. Ishq means when the love goes to a the love at the lower level is called as muhabba, when you love something, but when it goes to a higher level of ishq, it's complete absorption. Only the object of ishq of love exists. You don't exist. That's when ishq happens. So this is the connection of a salik or a seeker when he gets so connected to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahabis, we talked about the Sahabi who died in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how much he loved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brothers and sisters, so this is ishq, brothers. Zikr at this stage is zikr sirri. Okay, the angel who helps you at this state level is Mikael Islam, and alam is alam lahut. And this is the level of la maqam. Mansur al-Hallaj, we know about him. He said anal haq. And Bayezid Bustami radiallahu anhu, he was another great Sufi saint. He said ana subhani wa azmashani. So one gets completely absorbed in this state, brothers and sisters, that you lose identity of your own self. And we'll talk about this in detail. Qualities of these are mutmain, that somebody is completely content with the hukum of Allah. There is nothing else that makes them happy than following the hukum of Allah. Okay. The second meaning of mutmainna is that they have reached a state of serenity. The serenity, contentment, tranquility, surrender with love, brothers and sisters. Remember, surrender not because of fear. Complete love. Signs of this person is they not only they don't sin, but there is no more desire to sin, brothers and sisters. That's the beauty of it. May Allah Ta'ala, bless, every one of us with this nafse mutmainna. Reference of this given to us by Maula Hussein at Karbala. Brothers and sisters, Maula Hussein is not at this state, in Auzubillah, I want to correct it right. He's not at the state of mutmainna. He is at the highest state. And we'll cover those states. But what I'm saying, there was a reference set for human beings like you and me by Maula Hussein at Karbala. Think about it, 72 of his followers and 22,000 of Yazidis on the other side. He knows the battle is going to be a finished one. He's not going to survive the day of Karbala. And he sends all his children, Ummah, Zainab's children, Muhammad and Aoun, Mullah Hassan's children, Qasim radiallahu anhu, Mullah Hussein's his own elder son, Ali Akbar, the 6-month-old baby Ali Asgar. All of them are Shaheed. Brothers and sisters, his half brother, who was the closest to him, Abu Fadlil Abbas radiallahu anhu, I went to his mazar in Karbala, mashallah, it's so beautiful. We Sunnis don't go there, you know. It's a joke. Shia and Sunni is a joke, brothers and sisters. We should come out of all this nonsense, you know. We'll talk about this in the next slides. It's a joke. So, brothers and sisters, let me get back to this. So, you know, the way Mullah Hussein, you know, it's easy to bury your own self, you know. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, you know, jumped in the fire of Namrud. It's not a big deal. But when he wanted to, was asked to zabiha his son, Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, his hands were shivering. And look at here, you know, this is the point. Here, look at nafse mutmaina. When somebody reaches the stage of nafse mutmaina, here is, you know, uh, Mullah Hussein sending the children first. Inauzubillah, you think he's afraid of his life? No, because he's giving these Yazidis a chance that you have killed my elder son. Please make tawbah. I'll make tawbah for you. Let's mend our ways. Let's get together. Let's discuss. At every given time when he sacrificed one of his children, Zainab's children, Mullah Hassan's children, he's asking the crowd of 22,000 to stop the war. They wanted to finish everybody off. And finally he goes. But before he goes, he buries every of his children and the Shohada. With his own hands, he digs the grave. Can you imagine that? And he was at the complete state of submission. And that is at that point, brothers and sisters, from the heavens, when Mullah Hussein was burying the children before he went into battle, the heavens from Alame Arwa, the sound was heard. Ya yuhal nafs al mutmaina irjai rabbika radiyatan mardiya. To the righteous soul it is said, O thou soul, in complete peace and satisfaction, return to thy Lord, well pleased thyself and well pleasing unto him. This is Surah Fajr 27 and 28. Brothers and sisters. So Mullah Hussein, he left us a very high reference point, brothers and sisters. Think about it. And this is nafse mutmainna. It can only happen if the love for Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for us, Panjat and Pak, enlightened souls, it becomes more dear to us than our own selves, brothers and sisters. We have to become an Ashika Rasul Darja, at most adab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to cover that in the next slide. Now we are going to Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're going to cover a lot about adab again here. Okay, and we're going to talk about the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also. Okay, we have completed La ilaha illallah. Now we are at Muhammadur at that state. The state of La Maqam is here. Okay, and La Maqam is described in detail in the Miraj presentation. Brothers and sisters, please go and listen to it. Okay, I'm not going to cover that here. The drop merges into the ocean. When a drop of Atlantic Ocean, it merges back into the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean, then the drop loses its identity. It's part of the ocean now. And that's how at Mansur al-Hallaj at that point he said Anal Haq. Because when he merged, at that, this is at La Maqam, okay, not the still higher states beyond it, but even at this state, when he merged with the ocean, he lost his identity. It said Anal Haq. It is not Mansur Allah saying I am God, but I, as the individual consciousness, merged with the universal consciousness. Mansur al-Hallaj cried when Junaid al-Baghdadi, Hazrat Junaid al-Baghdadi, threw flowers at him when he was being persecuted. His hands were chopped, his nose were chopped. The Qazi at that time, from the Shariat point of view, said he has done blasphemy, and he was awarded the death penalty. And people were throwing stones at him, Mansur al-Hallaj, because he's an al-Haq. This is the level of idiocracy that even the Muslim Ummah also went stooped down to. When somebody gets so connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all he says is sees Allah everywhere, and he says, al-Haq in that ecstasy, and they say this is blasphemy, shirk and bid'ah. We see that clowns here nowadays a lot, right? Talking about shirk and bid'ah all the time. So we had clowns at that time, stoning Mansur al-Hallaj. So Junaid al-Baghdadi was also part of the crowd, and he was a saint. he threw flowers at him. When Junail al-Baghdadi threw flowers, Mansur al-Hallaj started crying. When the people, the majority of crowd were throwing stones, he was laughing. So Junail Baghdadi asked Mansur al-Hallaj from the crowd, he said, why are you crying when I'm showering flowers at you? He said, because you know my secret. The rest of them don't know, so I'm laughing at them. Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jalal, who came much later, he said, if I was there at that time, I would not have let that happen. Gausul Azam Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani is at a much higher spiritual level. He has so much of karamat with him. He could have stopped this thing from happening, but he did say that because he knew what happened was not the right thing. And today, mashallah, I'm sitting here and we're talking about Mansur al-Halaj. This is a free world now, brothers and sisters, right? If in Auzubillah, I don't want to say that, but let me say, if we have homosexuals and lesbians walking around, I'm going to talk about Mansur al-Hallaj too. What's the big deal? Nobody going to throw me on stones at me now, all right? Which is a good thing. Let everything come to the open. Who cares? Let positive also come to the open and negative also come to the open, and you can choose what you want, brothers and sisters. And here, brothers and sisters, I want to talk about a ayat of the Quran and we are discussing Muhammadur, okay? And the ayat is Kul innama ana basharun mislukum yuha ilayha annama ilahukum ilahum wahid faman kana yarqaw liqa'a rabbihi falyamal amala salihan wala yushrik bi ibadati rabbihi ahada. He says, say, O Prophet, this is again ayat Surah Kaf, the last ayat of Surah Kaf. It says, I am but a mortal like you. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is declaring, I am but a mortal like you, and it has been revealed to me that Allah is only one, and that whoever looks forward with hope, as awaits his judgment, and let him do the right thing, let him not ascribe unto him any partners. And basically, the point is that what I'm looking at is only the first part of it. Kul innama ana bashrun mislukun yuha ilayha. Here Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that I am but a mortal like you, brothers and sisters. Now, why I brought this up is there are a lot of sects, unfortunately, in the Muslim Ummah, and we're going to talk about that in the next slides. We're going to cover it briefly, but we'll come to a point at the end of this presentation. There are a lot of sects that talk about, they come back and say, oh, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said he was just a human being. We have to look at the context, the reference to context in every time a verse is revealed. And we're going to cover this about the nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam in deep, and I've also done that in ziyarat muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and so many other presentations on the same YouTube channel. To say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was just a human being like you and me, it's a joke. The context of this ayat is that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because the mushrikeen in Makkah, they were not believing Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And one of the sheikhs who taught me, he said, Shaitan needs miracles. True believers, they just need proof. Ayats are enough for them. So these shaitans, the mushrikeen of Makkah, they used to ask every now and then for show me a miracle, show me a miracle. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam showed so many miracles. One of the biggest one was splitting the moon into two. Now, when these things happened, remember that before in the pre-Islamic times, there were big, magicians and black magicians and soothsayers and all those kind. Summary was one of them. He was one of the greatest, black magicians there, and he had a lot of disciples. He comes from the time of Pharaoh. They were there. Idols and all that. So idols used to speak at that time before Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Jinns used to get into them and speak, and people used to bow, and that's what the Surah Baqarah, right, where the cow, also made some noises, and the Bani Israel fell prostrate to the cow, right, when the idol was created. When Musa Alayhi Salatu Wasallam went to get the 10 Commandments, the point is that when Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam started showing the miracles, these mushrikeen of Makkah, they plotted with these magicians to say Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was a magician. And what happened, right? Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's mawjuzat, was supernatural, brothers and sisters. Splitting the moon into two is not a joke, right? Can't happen. Any human being can't do it. So they used to, people started getting afraid to get close to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has come with a noble cause of spreading the deen, the revelation. So so they said, okay, what if we can't stop him? So let's make him, everybody afraid of him. And people started keeping distance from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, thinking that he might harm him. Oh, he has got so much of powers, even the normal magicians can't do it. So why get into trouble, right? Keep away from him, live a simple life. So this is when the ayat was revealed, brothers and sisters, which says that, yeah, I am but a mortal like you, and it has been that revelation came to me. And so the point I'm saying is that the so-called Muslims of today, to just they're trying uh, to bring the status of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam down, they quote this ayat. Okay. And I'm going to just continue to the next slide. The utmost adab and love for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay. Let's look at the love Allah has for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay. And we are discussing still Muhammad. Okay. We finished La ilaha illallahu. Now we are at Muhammad. Okay. Now the tajalli of Muhammad. Now Allah Ta'ala, glorified be He, by divine decree willed that the creation um, to happen through His nur. From His nur, He created the nur of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then He divided this light into four parts. From the first part He created the pen. From the second part He created the tablet. From the third part He created the divine throne. The Lord then commanded the pen to write. The pen asked, "O Ya Allah, O Lord, what should I write?" Allah Ta'ala said, "Write La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam." Thereupon the pen just exclaimed, right? Because he knows La ilaha illallah. Now he penned the kalam does not know Muhammad. So just in at the split of the moment, right? It says, "Oh, what a beautiful, great name is that, Muhammad." And that is mentioned with your name. Just think about it. It's just a comment, right? Now remember, brothers and sisters, the pen was created before any of our souls were created. Okay, so this is not when even the universes, 18,000 universes existed. The reason I'm bringing this up is, look at the adab of that Allah wanted. Okay, even from the pen. So what is the pen doing now? Pen just made a remark that, oh, what a beautiful name is Muhammad, and that it is mentioned with your name. Okay, that's all the pen mentioned. Let's go to the next slide. The Lord commands to the pen, mind your manners. Brothers, think about it. This name is the name of my beloved. From his light I have created the throne and the pen, that is yourself, and the tablets. You too are created from this light. Had it not been for him, I would not have created a single thing. When Allah Almighty spoke these words, the pen of fear of Allah split into two from awe of the Lord. And the place from where its speech issued, this when it spoke to Allah, it became blocked. So till this very day, the nib remains cloven with into two and clogged up every now and then, and does not write. So when the nib, and the felt pens, the ink pens which we used to have before the ball pens came, the when it gets clogged in between, the ink won't ooze out. So that is the sign of the great secret. So brothers and sisters, we are talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reprimanding the pen, the column, even when the 18,000 universes were not created. And here people have the audacity to talk about this ayat and then say, I am Nabi's follower, or Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was just a human being like you and me. I talk about this in detail in Ziyarat nur-e-muhammed Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Brothers and sisters, go and listen to that. This is when you have cleansed your heart, La ilaha illallahu, from nafse ammara to nafse lawama to nafse mulhima, and then you come to nafse mutmaina. The highest level of adab to the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you're doing salawat, automatic comes in. So this kalima is a journey. It is not a statement, brothers and sisters. If you find there are people in this ummah who don't give the adab to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you can imagine what level they are stuck at. Maybe they are stuck at the level of la, or they're stuck at the level of ilah, whatever level it is. But they have not reached the level of Muhammadur. That's I'm trying to make a statement here, inshallah. Okay. The fifth tajalli, brothers and sisters, let's keep going, is Rasul. So we have finished La ilaha illallahu Muhammadur. We have finished. Now we are at the level of Rasul. The color of this tajalli, brothers and sisters, is yellow. Maqam is nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Element is earth. This is where Bahamuddin Hazrat Qutb says very beautifully that when the nur was created, Allah asked the earth, fire, water, air, all these four elements, who will receive my nur? Nobody had the strength to say yes to Allah. It was earth which came in most humility. He came and said, Ya Allah, I'll receive it, but I have so much of impurity. He said, Allah said, I will purify you. And these purified souls are the souls of the prophets, the kutubs, the awliyas, and the believing the mu'minin and mu'minat. Even though the body is made out of earth with the impurities, because the tajalli of Nur Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is within them, and even though people like us, we come down to the alam nasut, we go through the journey of la, where it is nafse ammara, we go into ilah through the sharia ladder, and then we get into the state of nafse lawama. Then again we go to the next level, which is tariqat. We go to nafse mulhima. Then we again purify ourselves next level, and then we go through hakikat into marifat, and that is the nafse mutmaina. And then the next level is rasul. Okay, so here the sifat, the house is clean. Okay, the door is mouth, the taste is sweet, because this is, we come to Rasulullah, we reach the feet of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Before that, all the other liquids, whether it was the ear or the nose, all those places, it was either sour or bitter or whatever it is. Here, when it reaches, the taste is sweet. The sifat of this is engrossed in the self. The nurun ala nur, the nur of Allah and the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam are engrossed with each other, brothers and sisters. And I want to spend a little bit time here. It says example of the room and the eyes. So brothers and sisters, why I want to spend time here is we need to understand this level of Rasul. Okay, suppose that you walk into a room which is that has no light. It's in the dark. It's after sunset. You walk into, there's no light. It's pitch dark there. Now your eyes have light because you can see, right? But if there's no light in the room, you cannot see anything. Similarly, if it's broad daylight and somebody blind walks in, even it's broad daylight, you'll not see it. So either of the nur of the eyes which can see, or the nur through the sunlight or the tube light or whatever light in the room, based when it's morning or evening, either of the nur is not present, there is darkness. Correct, brothers and sisters? I hope you're understanding. Similarly, the nur is engrossed in the nur. 18,000 universes that Allah has created is sustained because that this nur is seeing the other nur. The nur of Allah is engrossed in the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If any one of them closes, the universe will go into non-existence, brothers and sisters. That is how important this is. The universe will cease to exist in the next moment. The quality of this tajalli is remembrance. That's where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that my I sleep but my heart is alive. And brothers, at this state, the alam is alame Yahut. Okay, and the nafs is Rahman. Remember, this nafs is the nafs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And what is the Rahman? The sifat of Ya Rahman is the nafs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We may have the nafs of nafse ammara, nafse lawama, nafse mulhima. Then we might get into nafse mutmainna at the stage when we connect to Rasul, to Muhammad. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's nafs is at nafs ar-Rahman. How can we say that he was just a human being like you and me at that point? If we don't know these things, then unknowingly we are doing bayadabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I know some jokers, brothers and sisters. I'm making this statement. I know some jokers who talk about the shadow of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Oh, we believe that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not have a shadow because there was always a cloud in the sky. And there are this other sects who believes that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the nur of Allah. That's the reason they did not have shadow. People, incomplete little knowledge is dangerous. Even in this society, Western society, they talk about it. So what if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam goes into a house, during daytime in Mecca? The cloud cannot follow inside the house, or he's sitting in front of a lamp in the night, in the Masjid al-Nabi, or at the in the Aisha's house there. So at that time, what does he have not have a shadow? Aisha radhiyallahu anha said, one evening after Maghrib, she was stitching something with her needle and thread, and suddenly the she dropped the needle and it went, it went to some part of the floor of the house, and it was Maghrib time. She had not lit the lamp. After prayers, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam walks in. She said, I picked up the needle and I passed the thread through the hole of the needle through the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, brothers and sisters. And we have some jokers in this ummah who says Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not have a shadow because there was a cloud floating on his head all the time, hovering on his head all the time, which is a true statement. But the nur, he's the nur. They don't agree to that. And they expect the shifaat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment, brothers and sisters. So as far as I'm concerned, they are negating the kalima, basically, brothers and sisters. And we'll talk about it. Because the kalima is complete when? La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When it's complete. Oh, I hope I'm making it clear. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at this state, the complete awareness or absorption happens. Okay. So Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in communion. Okay. We talked about it in Miraj that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always in Miraj. Even the incident of Miraj was for us to know the status of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to us to get the 5-time prayer. As for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's always in Miraj with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, complete absorption. The angel for us who helps us is Azrail, who is Malikul Maut. The libas is Wahadat, which is the Sufiyat, which is uh, to merge with Allah. The Sahaba spiritual status, which they inherited from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because of the so much of love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, brothers and sisters, it comes from complete surrender to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the nafs radiya. This is what I said. The Sahabi who passed away in the lap of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was at the state of nafs radiya, the inheritors of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what their state of nafs is. Wa radiyallahu anhu radwan zalika liman khashiya rabba. Allah being pleased with them and they being pleased with him. That is for whoever has feared his Lord. This is Surah Bayina, ayat number 8. The fear here is not of wrongdoing, brothers and sisters, at this spiritual state. It is a fear of the decrease of the love or the qurb of Allah or Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is what that Sahabi was afraid of. So I hope you understand. Even though I gave example at the state of nafse lawama, the Sahabi, died in the laps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the state of nafse radiya. Again, a statement here in the angels have gave where Allah, when Allah created the wanted to create the body of Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, he told the angels to design the body, and the angels designed, everything below the neck was designed by the angels, the hands, legs, feet, and all that, right? But Allah designed the face with the sense organs and all that, and that's the reason the angels have different stations in the body of human being. And Kutub Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat does mention that. Um, I'm just trying to look for it. Yeah. So Kutub says Jibril Islatu Islam is in the liver, and these are the maqams of the angels. Okay, and brothers, here it's slightly different. This is the function of the angels that we said in the different slides here, to help you go to the next level. Here Jibril Islatu Islam, as for Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat said, the house of Jibril Islatu Islam in the human body is the liver, Mikhail Islatu Islam is the spleen, Israel Islatu Islam is the lungs, Israfil alayhi salatu wasalam, sorry, Israfil alayhi salatu wasalam is the lungs. Israel alayhi salatu wasalam is between the liver and the bile, the gallbladder. Iblis himself is in the gallbladder. The Emperor Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dwells in places beyond description, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the King of Kings, dwells between the nose and the forehead, on the ridge of the nose. Okay, and these are all Sufi secrets, brothers and sisters. You need to go deeper into it. I just mentioned it, so there is no confusion, inshallah. The sixth tajalli, brothers and sisters, is of Allah. So we have said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasul Allah. We're coming to Allah. Okay, here the color is colorless. It's complete. It doesn't mean there's no color. When all colors combine, it goes into colorless, right? And we all know that. So if, for example, if you have the VIBG or the 7 colors on a disc and you rotate it at full speed, white color comes up because all the color merges and becomes colorless. The maqam is the zat. The sifat is awakeness. Allahu la ilaha illahu al hayyul qayyum la ta'khudhu sinatun wala nawm. That Allah does not have sleep, right? And He's awake. That is the awakeness. Zikr is zikr aghfa. Okay. The alam is alame hahut. Nafs is nafse mardiya. So when we come from nafse ammara, nafse lawama, nafse mulhima, nafse mutmaina, nafse radiya, and the final one is nafse mardiya. The libas is wasilat, closeness. So when you get to that point, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam met at Miraj, Allah ta'ala finally said, Ya Rasulullah, remove your physical body and come. Right? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to see Allah. And what he saw was the mirror. He saw himself, and when the final veil of the body was lifted. All these states are experienced by a seeker in muraqabah. Brothers and sisters, very important, Shaitan has ilm, definitely has got ilm. But the more he got it, more arrogant he became. Because he's created of fire and the pride always rises up. Adam alayhi salatu wasalam's children, we are all made of earth. The sifat of earth is we need to be more humble as we go to higher states. And that's the reason if you find somebody who says very spiritually high and he is arrogant and he's talking bad about other people, keep away from him. If our journey is only to merge with the nur of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the journey becomes pure because everything becomes secondary. Let people do what they need to do. This is my journey. I am focusing on my maghfirat, my salvation. That becomes important. I don't care about sects who talk about shadow of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If I know what is the truth, then I just don't care. I move on with my life. I don't have time to argue and say I am right and you are wrong. That is not the reason I came here. I have a more bigger goal in my life. Allah has brought me as a human soul to fulfill my own covenant with Allah, rather than fighting with people who don't want to listen. Everybody has got their own individual free will, and we talked about what free will do we have, right? We have come here for a purpose, and we have to fulfill our purpose and go back. And we'll talk about that in the few slides later on. And the final stage of this is, again, brothers and sisters, we're coming to the final stage of nafsal natika. So and that in Surah Shams, Allah Ta'ala says, Qad aflaha man tazakka, which is where the soul that who succeeds in purify himself. Qad aflaha man zakka. And where did we start, brothers and sisters? We said we that the hadith Qudsi, we said, or nafastu fihi min ruhi, that when the baby is in the mother's womb, 4 months 10 days into the conception, Allah breathed his pure soul into the baby, right, into the mother's womb. And then after all the states, the divine descent, we go each state up, and finally we reach nafse mardiya. And what's the nafse mardiya? Which is kad aflaha man zakkaha, truly he succeeds who purifies it. So that is the journey. So brothers and sisters, now look at the entire kalima, la ilaha illallahu Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Doesn't this kalima now fits the description that Allah says this is the kalima tayyiba, that kalima that purifies? Now think about this and go back to all this oriental and all this, there is no God but God, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah, or there is no deity worthy of worship. What is that explanation, brothers and sisters? This is the spiritual bankruptcy we have landed up ourselves in. How much more levels do we want to stoop down? We already bankrupt. If we are carrying this kalima of there is no God but God, which Orientalistic gave us, the Western world, learned Arabic and they gave us, and we are satisfied with that, then we lost our identity basically. Let's keep going. So we look at the kalima from a different perspective here. We are looking at a human soul. Once it comes to the earth, you see the baby which is lying down, then the toddler, and the little boy grows up to a teenage. He's got a ball in his hand, and as a young man, an adult, then middle age, then old age, and very old age, and finally towards the grave, right? Now this is a cycle of a normal human birth and death cycle. So when we look at La ilaha illallahu Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you see the kalima, right, with all the colors and everything that we have put in here. So here what we are saying is, and brothers and sisters, take some time to look at this thing, right, is the fatha is the ana, okay, where I am the big guy. The kasra is at the surrender state, and the dhamma is the state of love. Okay, so when you start with la, we said la is the nafse ammara, and the uh, fatha is on the top of la. So that is where the ana comes in, right? The commanding soul we talked about, right? Now ila is white, and we said it's connected to the heart. It's got the kasra as well as the fatha. So there the heart can move between surrender and ana, which is the ego. Ana is the ego. Okay, and then la ila, then illallahu. Now look at illallahu, then you look at Muhammadur, then you see Rasulu. So all this has got oozed dhammas there, and that is connected to the love. Okay, and finally, so the la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, the last Allah ends in a kasra. So that means the true kalima, when you now analyze it, the last Allah, uh, la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, ends in kasra, which is, it should end, if the kalima is complete, it should end in surrender. So just look at this uh, photo which is there. When we are all little babies, we are at the kasra level. That means we are completely at surrender state, because unless the mother feeds us, clothes us, gives us bath, we can't do anything, right? That's how helpless we are when we are born. you know Mother is everything for us. She does everything. Otherwise, we won't survive even for a day, right? Then from kasra, then you go to dhamma state, there where you are, the toddler, the little boy running around till you get to the teenage. Now, when you get to the teenage, Bahamuddin Hazrat says that the serpent, the snake comes, like the desire, right? And the fatha, starts now. The ana becomes, right? The personality develops, the ego develops. So that's the state that you see in the diagram where the young boy going into the young man, into the adult, into the middle age. That's where the fatah, is the ana rabbukum al ala state for every human being, okay, for different levels, unless he's an enlightened soul. And then again, it comes back to dhamma. When he start getting old, now he's dependent on other people, and then slowly the ego starts shedding down, right? Until finally he reached the point where he's near death and he's in kasra. Now he goes into the grave, and where in the grave you are in the state of surrender. You can't do anything anyway. Okay, so this is a human life, how the kalima pertains to the life cycle of a human being on earth. Okay, and we'll in the next slide we'll just discuss it in a little more detail, right? So pride again, ana, fatah, teenage, young age, right? Adult age and all that. Love, ishq, dhamma, toddler and old age, right? Surrender is the kasra, which is the baby, and when we are towards death. Now, what has to happen is the love and surrender, right? Which is the kasra and dhamma, should engulf our entire existence, right? But this is the normal state that we say la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The la, which comes from the arrogance of the five arrogance, the five, the mind, the five senses, the four elements. Ilaha, heart, arrogance, and surrender. We have two of them, right? Illallahu is the soul, we surrender, and it ends up in love. Muhammad, again, Muhammad is also love. Rasul is love, and Allah, the final Allah, ends in kasra. So, brothers and sisters, this is the perspective of the kalima from a human existence point of view, from the different earth, the stages that the body goes through. Okay, inshallah. It's self-explanatory, so you can go through it. This is a very important slide, mashallah. It completes everything. So you all already know about it, Nafse Natika, where we started our journey, the divine origin in Alam-e Arwa. The divine descent happened because Awwa and Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, our father, were sent to the dunya, right? So that is Nafse Ammara. When we land here, we are in Nafse Ammara state, Alam-e Nasut, which is the dunya, right? And that is where the la is there, which is the what is the when we are in the first test, we started the journey. It says Allah blew His breath into Adam alayhi salatu wasalam, into the body, right? Nafse Ammara state is la, Alam-e Nasut, which is the dunya, which is the nafs which is inclined towards evil and lethargy. Now, if we are able to win about, we are able to subdue the nafs of Ammara, and as we said of Zikr Ilahi, the laws of Sharia, then we go to the next level, which is Nafse Lawama, which is Ilaha, which is Alam-e Malkut, the status of the angels. The soul can now judge between evil and good, and it is inclined more towards good because it's trying to overcome its evil qualities. Okay. The next stage is Nafse Mulhima, which is the nafs which is inspired one. At that point is La ilaha illallahu. This is Alame Jabrut. This is the enlightened soul. It does understand the path and it can guide other people. Okay. The next is Nafse Mutmaina, and we said the nafs is in complete contentment. This is where Muhammadur, this is the Ashik-e Rasul state. We gave the example of Karbala of Maula Hussein, how he displayed his duty towards Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the battlefield of Karbala. Alam-e Lahut, soul is in complete peace and satisfaction in whatever is the command of Allah. It will not complain. Okay, whatever comes is coming from Allah. That is complete at peace, and satisfaction, because of deep love to Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, submission at that level. Nafse Radiya is the Sahabis reach that level. Definitely Mawla Hussein much beyond that. So where they become so close to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the the fana of Rasul happens there. Alam Yahut happens. This is the soul is in total submission. And finally, nafse mardiya, which is alam Yahut, the soul merges with the divine. We finally end the journey at the same place we started. Where is nafse natika? This is where inna lillahi wa inna ilay rajiun actually holds true. You reach back home from where you started. This is the purified and perfected soul, brothers and sisters. So this is the journey of that we have to complete. This is the meaning of the La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, brothers and sisters. Okay, so all the arrows are green because we succeed in going to the next level. The only one is the divine descent, which you and I can help it because we were born into earth. So already the divine descent already happened. Okay, so now we have to go the 6 stages we have to go up, inshallah, so that we go back into nafs al natika, which is the end of our journey, the last row there, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. And that is our human life on this planet, and this is the brothers the crux of the kalima tayyiba. And not, as we said, there is no god but God, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, yeah. That's a very basic and bankrupt explanation of the kalima, inshallah. We're quickly going to complete these things. There are some slides which are there, which is needed just to complete it. The completeness of the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, when you say La ilaha illallahu, Allahu, the name, right? The 99 names or the attributes, the sifati names of Allah, and one is 100. Okay, the total 100 names, which was revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allahu is Allahu la ilaha illahu la ilaha qayyum. There are so many ayats of which starts with Allahu. If you take the alif away from that, what remains is lahu. And we have the ayat of the Quran which is lahu ma fis samawati wal ard man zal ladhi yashfa'u 'indahu illa bi'izni ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim. This is ayatul kursi. Remove the aha, who remains, which is who Allah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-alimul ghaib shahadatu wa huwa al-marim wallahu la ilaha illa al-malik quddus salamul mu'min al-mu'min az-jabbar. That is Surah Hashr. So huwa is there. So the point we are saying, even when you split Allahu into smaller chunks of break up the word, every uh, broken up part is a whole. Allahu means Allahu. Lahu means again Allahu. Who means against he. And then we, from a numerology, Arabic numerology perspective, 100, 1 plus 0, 0 is 1, and again it is Ahad, which is oneness. We said that in so many other places. Kul hu Allah Ahad means my soul and Allah's soul. Again, merging of that together is Ahad. This is oneness, and it's not one God. Okay, from a Sufi perspective. Now, quickly, nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam from pertaining to creation. Okay, so how does the nur pertain to me as a creation? From nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah created a lamp, emerald. He placed the soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the lamp and commanded it to recite Asmaul Husna, which the soul did for 1000 years. When the soul recited Ar-Rahman, the gaze of mercy fell on it, and it started sweating in modesty. From the sweat drops came all the prophets and messengers who were engulfed by the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they recited Kalima Tayyiba. This is the point I'm trying to come to. Okay, so all the prophets came from the sweat which came out when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited. The soul of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was put in an emerald lamp, and Allah commanded the soul to recite Asmaul Husna. When it recited Ar-Rahman, Allah looked with full gaze, power, and the mercy fell, and out of modesty Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's soul started sweating. From each of the sweat came the 1,24,000 prophets and messengers of Allah, and they recited Kalima Tayyiba right away, and they were engulfed by the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brothers and sisters, this nur is everywhere, and this is the nur that there are so many others. So remember why I'm stressing on this thing. There are 73 sects. Huzur Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the Muslim ummah will be divided into 72 of them, brothers and sisters. They will not believe on the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember that. Okay, and the kutubs came, the walis and the awliyas came. They say this is part of our Aqidah. You have to, and the most important, when you go to higher Sufi meditation, you see the nur within your own self. Now it's not Aqidah, then that's your reality. You're going back, you're going through all these different stages of nafse ammara, nafse lawama, nafse mulhima, nafse mutmaina, nafse radiya, and nafse mardiya. That is your journey of Kalima Tayyiba. When the blessed soul recited Al Kahar from the sweat, the angels were created. And you can go Surah Al Imran, ayat 75, 76. I'm because it's getting late, I'm going faster. Allah then created the mirror and commanded the soul to gaze into the mirror. From the sweat of the face, Allah created the throne, the divine tablets, and the pen, and the sun and the moon stars. From the sweat of the chest, right, He created the scholars, the martyrs, and the righteous believers. So this is now the nur when it was created, and then Allah created the mirror and commanded the soul to gaze. So the body form of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that's what we are saying now. So from again, from different parts of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that nur, the body form, based on the sweat which from where it came, that is where the different professions, or you could say the duties which were assigned. From the sweat of the back of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Baitul Mamur, Kaaba, and Baitul Muqaddas, Rawdat al Mutahara, that is the blessed grave of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So all the masajids of the world were created. Now think about the masajids which does not talk about nur-e-muhammed Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and which talk about bidda and shirk, and there is no God but God. I don't know whether those are included in this, right? And whether I could call it a complete masajid anyway. From the sweat of his brows, souls of believers has made. From the sweat of his lower back, brothers and sisters, unbelievers, idol worshippers, fire worshippers were created. From the sweat of his feet, the ground east to west were made. Hence, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is referred to as Abul Arwa, the father of the souls. All the souls were commanded to praise and glorify the soul of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Those souls who gazed the eyes became Quran Hafiz of Quran. Those who gazed the eyebrows became painters and artists. Those who gazed the ears who were made to accept admonition and advice. Those who gazed the cheeks, they became a performance of good and reasonable works. Those who gazed the face became judges and perfume makers. Those who gazed the lips became ministers. Those who gazed the mouth, they would fast much of their lifetime. Those who looked at the teeth would be of good comely experience, good experience appearance. Those who gaze the tongue would become ambassadors of kings. Those who gaze the throat would become preachers and muezzin. Those who gaze the beard would become fighters in the path of Allah. Those who gaze the upper arm would become archers or divers at sea. Those who gaze the neck would become trader and merchant. Those who gaze the right hand would become leaders. Those who gaze the left hand would become a dispenser, or who would measure things, right? Like in a shop or something. Those who gaze the finger of the tips of the right hand become calligraphs. Those who gaze the tip of the left became iron workers. Those who became the gaze the chest became aesthetic and scholarly. And again, you can go through this. Those who gazed the sides became warriors. Those who gazed the belly becomes contented ones. Those who gazed the right knee became the ruku, did the ruku and sujud. And those who looked at the feet became hunters. Those who gazed the soles of feet became wanderers. Those who saw the shadows became singers. Those and saz players, they were entertainers. Shadow, just think about this. Looked at the shadow, they become entertainers. And we have today, the entertainers are given a lot of respect. Those who looked and saw nothing became unbelievers, fire worshippers, and idolaters. So even the form of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in that particular state, those who did not look at all became the pharaohs and the Namruds, the dictators at that time, and who called themselves Allah, Ana Rabbukum Allah. These souls were made to line up in 4 rows, and Allah asked, Alastu bi Rabbikum, am I not your Lord? And Surah Araf, the first row was the row of prophets and messengers. Second was for the saints and the friends of Allah. The third row was believing men and women. The fourth row was for unbelievers. And brothers and sisters, I went through this quickly. If you want to go through this, there's a lot of information. You should read the book of Muhammad the Messenger by Hajja Amina. Is a beautiful mother, and she is the wife of the late Sheikh Nazim from Cyprus. beautifully written book. That's the reason I went through these slides quickly. These last 3 slides, you can always buy the book and read through it. Okay, it's a very good explanation of the nur. I just put this in so that people understand that what the relevance of the nur is. Okay. Again, going back to the questioning of the grave, we all know the question that will be asked: Man Rabbuka, Man Dinuka, Man Nabiyuka, Man Dinuka. For us who now understands the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for us the answer for all these 3 questions is, brothers and sisters, is just the kalima tayyiba. Man Rabbuka, La ilaha illallah. Man Nabiyuka, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man Dinuka, again recite the kalima La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is my din, because this is now become a way of life. It's not just a statement. Okay, as we said, the different stages of nafs that we have to go through. So we answer one question or 3 questions with one answer in the grave. Okay, mashallah. Now the question: the Yazidis of Karbala also recited the Kalima Tayyiba, so why did they not get purified and get hidayat? They slaughtered my Nabi's family and true followers. So I'm questioning myself. I do the questioning myself. Do I have Yazidiyat of 21st century within me? Well, I'm not in the battle of Karbala against Maulana Hussein and Nauzubillah, but do I have Yazidiyat within me in 21st century? Not having true ilm of Allah Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and hence in illusion, away from hakikat and reality. What we are discussing here, brothers and sisters, all this hidden knowledge. What if I don't accept these things? I say, you know what, there is no God, but God is good enough, or there is no deity worthy of worship other than Allah is good enough. Then am I a Yazidi also? I don't have to take up arms against Maulana Hussein to become a Yazidi. That's my question to everybody, including to myself. So Kalma Tayyiba is a spiritual journey, a way of life. One who does not realize the inner meaning of Kalma Tayyiba can never get connected to the nur of Allah and nur of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We're going to quickly cover 2 topics. I'm going to not spend much time here. Kufr, because this is important just to make you understand. Okay, and it's a huge topic. It's Islamic theology kind of thing. I don't want to go into the depth of it, but I just want to go through this in detail so that we complete this presentation. Kufr. Kufr means, again, we said either we reject or we hide. These are the things kufr means. Okay. That is kafirun, right? You reject or hide. The mushrikeen in Makkah rejected the message of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so they become kufr. Rejection of kalima, in the kalima, the la ilaha, right? We going to that. Now, at a basic level, when people don't understand this thing, they say, okay, ilaha, la ilaha means here it is not Allah. Okay, this is mabud, the 4 elemental body. And then you have a hakiki within you. So when you say la ilaha, right, when you look at rejecting something, when you go back and say ilaha, okay, 4 elemental body, and then I have a soul, which is my hakikat, which is my reality. Now both cannot be rejected, brothers and sisters. Only the self associating with the mind, which creates the ego, right, which is attracted to evil, that I can reject and suppress. But the soul which accepts the wisdom and consciousness, I have to accept it. If I reject both, that becomes kufr, because I'm rejecting a reality which is the reality of my soul there. Okay. So what we are doing, we are saying is, we distance means stopping the I-ness in the connected to the body, but we accept the soul part of it. So people say la ilaha, oh, I reject myself. No, because what you say yourself is not one, is two, at least two. Okay, there are more things, there are more other subtle bodies there, but at least two: your soul body and your 5 elemental body. Okay, so la ilaha is not rejecting myself, right? Then the second kufr, I don't exist, reject your existence, right? And this is what people need to understand. When Mansur Allah said anal haq, he was not negating his existence. And that's what you're saying. At a higher stage, the fakir drops all individual desires, nafs, and likes and dislikes, which comes from his 5 senses. Now he becomes a pure mirror. When he looks into the mirror, what he sees is, he sees himself and Allah's presence. And when he sees Allah's presence everywhere, he says, Inna Allah ala kulli shayin muhit, Allah is everywhere. And in that state, he says, Ya haq, anal haq, which is, I am haq, I am truth. But that is not because he's negating his existence, brothers and sisters. It's because he's become a pure mirror. And then in the mirror, he's seeing his own reflection, which is myself. And we'll cover that in a little bit in the later presentation, so just people don't get confused about it. Shirk, okay, we said kufr and shirk. Shirk at a higher level of spirituality. The four elements, the fire, water, air, ether, combine with the soul and Nur Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam within the body. Now we all know that, we have covered this so many times. To think and believe that these separate sections within oneself is one entity identified by the body is shirk. Shirk means what? Combining things together. So if I say, oh, the four elemental body, that is fire, earth, fire, water, air, and ether is the the magnetic part of it. When the four elements, earth, fire, water, air, combine, then automatically the magnetic field is generated around the body. Okay. So if I say, oh, all of this together is my one body, no. Now you combined everything together. These are different sections. When you go into meditation, all these sections stand out, and that is how you purify yourself, because then you can look at your ego, which is coming from your lower desires, and the soul separately. And that is where the journey is. You should be able to get into that high level of muraqabah, where you can see things separately, because the body part will go into the grave and the soul part will go back to Allah. The four elements giving rise to the individual ego, the soul witnesses the kalima and gives rise to the individual consciousness. Very important, brothers and sisters. The four elements, when put together, gives rise to the individual ego. The soul witnessing the kalima, when purified, sees the individual consciousness. That individual consciousness mingles, and we said that we mingles like blood mingles with the body. Individual consciousness mingles with Nur Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the father of our soul, to understand our origin. If one does not understand, this is very important. If one does not understand this truth that we are talking about, that he will not be able to decipher his state of shirk. So this ilm that we are talking about, if somebody rejects it because I don't care, I don't know, whatever it is, it's a state of shirk at that point. Okay, I'm not trying to blame anybody, but I'm just giving out, these are different things that just a seeker has to understand, realize. So again, saying that there is no God but God, which is the Oriental scholar explanation, is a brain dead definition of the kalima. Unknowingly, you're in the state of shirk, because you don't know, what you're assuming and what you're rejecting, right? And you have no clue of what is being said. So that is also a state of shirk, because that you're combining things together and you're in a state of illusion at that point. Somebody's okay. So quickly, the Kutub's advice to the children. Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat, he advised before he left the physical plane, he advised his children. And I wanted to put this in a couple of slides so that we understand the seriousness of what we discussed here. He said, you must, my children, he's all to his children, okay? We are all his children. You must return to Allah after you have solved the mystery of your creation. That is his command, his advice to us. You must transform the soul, the wisdom, and the nur within yourself into one and proceed further. And there he says, Allah says here that you will find me within you and you will be within me. This is the God man, man God concept that Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat said, where you are within Allah and the nur of Allah and Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is within you. So those two nurs are mingling with each other within your own self. Okay, and that is a high meditative state, mashallah. It's a state of bliss. Okay, and these are, brothers and sisters, these are states that one has to reach. There's no amount of a slide making or explanation which will do justice. You have to go through this step by step. After doing zikr and all this, zikr jalli, then zikr kalbi, zikr ruhi, zikr sirri, and all those different stages. Okay, then in this state, so the man is connected, so you're within me and I'm within you. The man thinks that his soul is connected to his body, but it's the other way around. Very, very important, brothers and sisters. Man always thinks, oh, my soul is connected to the body. It's the other way around. The body is engulfed by the aura of the soul. Okay, and you will see this in your meditation. This is provided the five elemental body, that you have the four energy chakras centers. We said, right, whether you call it energy centers or chakras doesn't mean anything. The bottom of the spinal cord is the earth. The just half inch below the navel is the water. Just above the navel is the fire element, and then at the center of the chest is the air element. Towards the throat is the ether element. On the tip, on the third eye between the eyebrows is the Nur Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and on the top is and that is the arsh, and the top part of the skull is the kursi. So, and we talked about that in so many other presentations in Ziyarat nur-e-Muhammed Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in True Meditation. You can go and check it out. I don't want to spend time here. So, in the state when you have transformed your the four elements below, which is the earth, topping starting from the bottom of spinal cord, then the water element, fire element, and air element. When you transform all these things, automatically the ether element in the throat gets transformed when the energies below gets transformed automatically. The fifth to get transformed, and fifth is where the sound comes from. The magnetic energy is the sound energy which comes from, and where I'm talking from. The four elements which are within my body, they are combining together, and the speech is happening. This is the magnetic energy which is coming out, depending upon, I may be in Auzubillah cursing somebody if my four elemental energies are in a bad state, or I'm doing the zikr of Allah if I'm in a good state. Okay, that's what it all means, right? Either it's the five angels or the five elements which can have negative effect. Now in the above state we can converse with each other. Allah is saying this to the seeker. Okay, man will not be able to see Allah when he is the slave of the mind of the desire and the 4 trillion energy forms within the body, and the arrogance of the religion, I am going to heaven. Most of the time, brothers and sisters, the people who don't know about this ilm, they are always sure about heaven. A man has to overcome all these barriers mentioned above and become an enlightened being. Qutb's advice. Qutb further says, Allah's rahmah can be witnessed by the one who sees Allah and the nur within himself. Qutb further says, the eye sees, the mind create images. We talked about this in detail in True Meditation. Go and listen to that. It's got a lot of detailed information. This is just one line here. Qutb said, eye sees, the mind creates an image creates a desire, the five elemental body reacts and sins are committed. Understand the inner heart of man. One who connects to the inner heart within his own self will know his mystery. The actors of the world will act out their illusionary acts, displaying their slavehood to the world of form. These actors belong to the 72 sects, very, very important brothers and sisters, who are destined to hell but will always claim heaven for themselves. The secret one sect who has realized themselves, right? For them, the entire world is a prayer mat, and they will worship the Lord with wisdom, and they will see the nur within their own selves. So for this, the last sect, I'm not talking this is an exclusive club and I'm part of it. No, I'm saying is they have no ego issues now. For them, they know that the entire jihad akbar, that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is within your own self, right? My biggest problem is my own self, not anything outside me. Okay, and then they start the self purification, and that self purification, they becomes pure because they are not interested in looking at faults of other people, because in Mala Ali said that that person is the most wise, who has no time to look at the faults of other people because he's engaged in identifying the faults within his own self. This is Mala Ali saying, brothers and sisters. And Qutb finally says, they worship Allah with divine wisdom with their own selves, and this is the divine mystery. If one gets mesmerized with what the physical eye sees, very, very important, brothers and sisters. Baba said that. Then the eye sees, it creates images, the image creates his desire, and the five elemental energy then reacts to the desire. So if one gets mesmerized with the physical eyes, one will never be able to grasp and comprehend the truth. Okay, so the physical eyes, most important. You have ears. You cannot shut your ears automatically, but you know what? There is an eyelid. If you want, you can close your eyes. That is the reason on the day of judgment, you will be questioned on what you see, because you had an option to shut your eyes. You don't have an option to shut your, ears. You can take your, fingers and plug it in, but still, there's an eyelid given for a reason there. Okay, so and eyes are the most easiest part of getting mesmerized in this world. We have to control that the most. Kutu finally ends in a beautiful prayer to all the children. He said, may Allah bestow my children with the truth and the wisdom. Ameen. May Allah protect us and sustain us and give us the grace, the rahmah, and dress us with his qualities. Ameen. Question the seeker asked, what currently state I am in? Asked the Qutb. Your inner state will give you witness. That is what Qutb's answer. Allah lets the seeker know what your state is. What is the precondition? Halal rizq. obeying the commandments of Allah, eating spiritual rizq, which is zikr, ibadat, and very important, non-violence, brothers and sisters. All the qualities of nafse ammara we talked about. Make sure that you are not violent within your own self. Pride is a violence within your own self. Ego is a violence within your own self. Before you hurt any other person, you're going to hurt yourself more. Learn to let go. Let go. Let people live their lives. You got more important things to do. If I'm in the state of nafse ammara, I have to go to nafse ammara, to nafse lawama, to nafse mulhima, to nafse mutmaina, to nafse radia, to nafse mardiya. I got a journey to complete here. I have not even started my journey because I believed in there is no God but God, kalima, or there is none worthy of worship other than Allah. That was my kalima till today. So I have work to do here, right? Hakikat of the kalima. Okay, again, this is a beautiful slide that I talked about this in true meditation also. Baba said the sharia is below the navel, tariqat is from the navel to the diaphragm, and from the diaphragm up to the throat is hakikat, and marfat is from the throat up to the third eye, and from the third eye to the tip of the forehead is sufiyat. Okay, and this is, again, it pertains to the energy centers. You can look at that and spend your time here. I already mentioned this thing in detail in true meditation. I just put it on here so that this particular presentation becomes complete. Quickly go through this. Hakikat of Kalima, you already know about it. La, the job at hand is what? To transform the five elements into five angels. Use the five senses to seek Allah and live a life of conforming to His rules. Illallah, listen and obey so that you get into the angelic realm. Illallahu, love Allah, know Him and understand Him. Muhammadar is the form which came as the divine guidance. Rasul is the nur of Allah, is the reason of the creation. Okay, and the last Allah is surrender and merge. Nurun ala nur. Okay, we have our nur within ourselves, the individual consciousness merge with the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's nur, and finally merge with the universal consciousness, which is Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Inna Allah ala kulli shayin muhit. The ego arising from the material form, creating the false image of the I-ness belonging to the dunya, and we unfortunately get immersed in the psychological drama and the of the world, the gymnastics of the rituals. We get caught up in these things, and we should be. And the kalima basically says that you have to go deep within your own self and cleanse yourself. So that is the actual meaning of kalima tayyiba, brothers and sisters. Okay, and this is explanation of treasure. Okay, again, we covered this, but from a kutub's perspective, it is beautiful. It's just a couple of slides. I'll quickly go through this. It's just reading. Kalima is the treasure which is entrusted to the children of Adam al Islam. Annati state, Bawang Moiddin Hazrat said, when Allah was alone in deep meditation for billions and billions of years, we don't even know, the wish came within him that I am a hidden treasure, I needed to be known. At that time, the nur of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam emerges from the inner heart of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. The nur says to Allah that I am destitute and I have no one to call my own. This is so beautiful. Allah says, you are mine, you belong to me, and you are my treasure. You and I are both treasures given to as trust to the children of Adam. This is the kalima, brothers and sisters. The kalima is a trust given to us. Allah continues, I cannot send you the nur in the original resplendence form, which is far brighter than the resplendence of millions of suns, and will draw all the lights into itself and envelop all other rays. So I'm going to conceal your original form of what? Of nur-e-muhammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and create a form of love with a radiant face and in a gentle nature, and with the light of the grace. And you have to go down. This is Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being given the mission. This is the Nur of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam coming as Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and you have to make them understand the truth that is within them, and demonstrate to them the exaltedness of their unity which is Ahad. Okay, this is the Kalima, brothers and sisters. Just think about it. Now, there are deviant sects who, in the name of Tawheed, is destroying the spiritual heart of Islam. I hope you agree here. Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat was building the masjid in Philadelphia in the 1980s, and he wanted to put Shariat, Tariqat, Hakikat, Marfat, and Sufiyat engraved in front of this masjid. This is the Kutub of Allah, brothers and sisters. The followers, children were afraid. They said, if we put the word Sufiyat, we will be targeted. The Kutub put his foot down and he said, nothing doing, you have to put it on in front of my masjid. At least one masjid have that name, the Sufiyat there. Otherwise, they will say this Sufis are bidda and shirk, right? So Qutb put his foot down. Alhamdulillah, it is there engraved. If you go to Philadelphia, you can see it is there. Shariat, Tariqat, Hakikat, Marfat. Alhamdulillah. Those Tawheed groups who are scaring the innocent Muslims of today of shirk and bidda diverts one attention, and we end up ignoring the collective shirk of turning a blind eye on the dictators and the oppressive regimes around the Muslim world who represent us and talk on our behalf. I have nothing to do with their political ambitions. But my point is that, you know, if they talk on our behalf, then we have to be careful. And they are built on the abolished Ottoman Khilafat, which we all know about, which was, abolished 100 years before, 1924. Okay. Allah make us realize what we lost. What is the state today? State is that a thief entered my house and he robbed me of my belongings. I do not even know the value of what I lost. And the second problem is I don't know what I lost. And so what is a bigger problem? I ignore what I lost. Think about it, brothers and sisters. A quick slide, Wahdatul Wajud. This is a huge topic, brothers and sisters. If I talk about it, it'll be 1 hour. It's the unity of existence. In a very, a few lines, once one sees the nur of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam within one's own self, empathy, love and empathy becomes one's fitra, because that is becomes a primary nature, and one feels connected to individual consciousness, collective human consciousness, and universal consciousness. In meditation, you feel connected to everybody. Empathy towards all creation of Allah, not just human beings. Baba Muhyiddin Hazrat said, become a vegetarian. He said that. Empathy to all creation. Today, the Muslims of today, we are Sunnis, Shias, Deobandis, Barelvis, Ahle Hadith, Tabligh, Jamaat, Wahhabi, 72 sects. The Kutub and enlightened souls came to unite human beings back and show us our true inner self, where we came from and where we should return. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. This is one of the British Secretary of State. And if you can read about it, and he he basically is one of the people who was I won't call anti-Islamic and all this. They were misguided. you know People come and do whatever they're destined to do anyway. So the bottom line is that he said, okay, we have succeeded in abolishing destroying the Khilafat. Now we should make sure that there should be no more unity among the Muslims. And brothers and sisters, I think my point is that George Corzon did an excellent job, because today we are divided so much, and we are talking about, we're fighting over the shadow of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Auzubillah. These are the things that are debated. The Diobandi, Barelvi, Al Hadith, Wahhabi, Shirk, Bidda, you know, and we have a bigger journey of the Kalima Tayyiba, right? La ilaha illallahu Muhammad Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And that Kalima has been given such a novice, translation or explanation, and we are satisfied with that. So this is I don't know how much further down can we stoop down to, right? I think we hit rock bottom now. Maybe it's time to turn back. So again, a statement here: to spread hatred is easy, brothers and sisters. To spread love needs a lot of courage. Inshallah, okay. Karbala proved that the majority may not be always right, right? And minorities in any part of the world, whether it is Hindus in Pakistan, or Muslims in India, or anywhere in the world, right? Or the if you're a white man in Africa or you're a black man in America, it doesn't matter, right? Wherever minorities are they pay the price. And Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that a Muslim will leave his house as a believer in the morning, and by the time he comes back in the evening, he will be a disbeliever. Iman will leave the Muslim during the end of times like an arrow leaves the bow, so fast. Prophets dreaded to be born during these times, and we are living in the end of times. And to protect our iman, we need to be spiritually strong and well connected to the ishq, which is the deep love to Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the kutubs and awliyas. Else we would be like a boat in the middle of the ocean, which will be directionless, and the next wave or the wind comes will hit us and we will turn upside down. Weak iman. The Sahabas asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, why is it the Muslims are weak? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Hubbud dunya wa karahatul maut." That is the love for the world and the fear of death. Conclusion, brothers and sisters. Kalima Tayyiba, right? Kalima Tayyiba, for a majority of masses, I hope you agree at this point, is just a statement which we cannot fully understand. Now, hopefully, we understand some part of it, and we have a journey to take, our soul through. For the realized soul, death is just a barrier. The physical body, which when lifted, when the physical body goes back to the grave, will unite to him to the eternal state. The witnessing of the kalima, which is nurun ala nur, which is the second kalima, which is the ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna muhammadan abduhu rasuluh. This is, brothers and sisters, the kalima is what? La ilaha illallah is the nur of Allah. Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Both mingling together is nurun ala nur. This kalima is the nur, brothers and sisters. Okay, and this kalima now, I go back to the first statement I made, 18,000 universes on one side, and this nur mingling with other nur, which is heavier for sure, the nurun ala nur, because we said that if one of the eyes shut down, the world will go into non-existence. Now I hope we understand that why when they said, if the kalima is put on one side of the balance and 18,000 created universes on the other side, the kalima will weigh heavier. I hope we understand that now. Remember, brothers and sisters, the nur is at a much high frequency, and below that frequency is the normal. The light speed of light is 3 into 10 raised to 8 meters per second. I think it's 186,000 miles per second. Second, and the matter is at a much more lower frequency. Vibration of matter is at a much more lower frequency than energy, because E is equal to mc square. So if we divide E with c square, that is what the mass comes up. Okay. For the slave of the world, it's ending his worldly dream, right? Because the slave of the world, death is what? Ending of his worldly dream. The pleasures, the ego, the satisfaction, position, and power that he worked for, So his sense of identity, who is not gone into his internal journey, through his internal journey, everything what he belongs to and whatever the people of the world has given him the identity, is that what is connected to. He will be the fear is there of losing that. Hence he will be scared about that. So brothers and sisters, live a life of as a fakir. Primary goal is to understand one's own self. This is what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and we talk about this in almost all presentation. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. The person who understands his own self understands Allah. Okay, fakir again does not mean that you should be on the street with a begging ball. Even a rich man with worldly possessions can be a fakir, provided the wealth does not go into his heart. He has no personal attachment to he thinks that this is just a amana from Allah, and Allah is the owner. Whereas a beggar on the street may not be a fakir, because the beggar is sitting there with a begging ball, but he thinks that one day I'll make a lot of money, I'll buy a big mansion for myself. So we might think, oh, beggar is a fakir. No, because it depends upon what is the intention within your own self. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is a beautiful poem. It is in Urdu. I'll try to sing it. I wanted to put this because this is one of the most beautiful marifat poems I came across, and I wanted to share with everyone. Okay. So this poem says, "Aapko pata nahi jab aapko pata hu main." It is very deep. It's at level of marifat. Okay, and the same word, and what it means, "aapko pata nahi," means that I I did not find you or did not attain you when I find you. Okay. And we're going to go through this in steps so that you realize it. It's a very beautiful poem. If I'm able to make you understand, for people who understand Urdu language, it'll be easier. But I'll try to make sure that I do a translation in English. And if you understand it, it's a beautiful way of understanding this whole journey of love. Okay. The way the poet sings is, he says, आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. Now, in this first state, that I did not find you, he's pointing to one's own self. The poet is pointing to oneself, says, I did not find you. And now he switches to the heaven and says, looks at the heavens up, raises his hand, says, when I find you. Okay, in this state, right, I did not find you. That is, I did not find my own self when I found you, Ya Allah, right? When I found Allah. Here, the pleasure of the body is more attractive than the spiritual practices, because here, he's not, it's like, if I have to pray 5 times, or if I have to do my fasting, he's pointing to my own self, says, when I have to get up for Fajr, it's a problem, right? So आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. So he is more inclined towards his body. Okay. Now he does his spiritual practices. He goes into this journey. That's the first level. Okay. Goes in. Now he reaches the second level. Again the same statement. आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. Now here again he says, I don't find you or I don't attain you. Now he's switching to his own pointing to his own self, said, I don't attain you when I find you. When I find you, and he's pointing to Allah. Okay. Here in the second state, he has reached a level of understanding that he understands that when my ego is involved, I don't get Allah, and myself is an obstacle. Okay. Now the journey continues further, right? The seeker is moving on his journey. Again the same things. आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. Now here, now he's moved from the second level, right? Now here he's looking outside, in the outside world, looking for Allah, and he does not find Allah. And he admonishes his own self that when I find you, O my nafs, I'm not finding Allah outside. I still not found Allah, because he looked Allah everywhere else outside, and then he says, I don't find you, Ya Allah, when I find myself, which my nafs. This is the third darja. Finally, at this point, Allah's rahmat kicks in, and the divine wisdom is dawned onto the seeker. Again the same words. आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. Here he's pointing to his own self and saying, when I don't find you, which means he's looking at his nafs, right, his lower self, and says, when I don't find you, then he points again to himself and says, I find you, which is the Allah and the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam within his own self. So now he reaches the point of Sufiyat, where he understands there is no use looking for Allah outside. Allah is within me. The nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is within me. So when the poet says that the four levels, right, like आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. The second level again is the same thing. आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. In the second one, as we said, he understands that the ego is the bottleneck. The third again, he says the same thing. आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं. In the third level, he's looking for Allah outside, and he admonishes his own self that, aapko pata nahi, I don't find you, Allah, when I find you, which is my own self, right? And the fourth stage, again he says the same statement, self discovery state, that he looks at himself and says, uh, आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं, where he looks at his own lower self and says, oh, this ego of myself, myself is the bottleneck. And then he looks deeper and he finds Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's nur within his own self. So now he points to himself, and then he continues, the poet continues that, saying that at that point when he finds Allah and Allah's Rasul's Habib's nur within his own self, he says, Ya to kho jata hu main, ya to kho diya jata hu main. This is very important. He says, either I lose myself in the nur, which the nur has got when you go into deeper levels of meditation, when you start seeing the nur, you can sit for hours together in meditation and you won't know the time go by. So, ya to kho jata hu main, ya, either I lose myself in the nur or I am made to go astray. Ya to kho jata hu main means I'm made to go astray. That, I become a wanderer. So that is admonition coming there. And then he continues, says, है अनल हक हक मगर कहने न थी, यार की महफिल से बाहर, यार की महफिल की बात. This is very beautiful. He says, Anal Haq, that Mansur al-Hallaj said, is the absolute truth, but he should not have revealed the secret to the outside world. The world will not understand, and they punished Mansur al-Hallaj. It's very beautiful, brothers and sisters. And finally, the last slide, he says, very beautifully, he says, the final stage, he says, आईना बनकर मकाबिल उसके जब जाता हूँ मैं, अपनी सूरत देखता हूँ और इतराता हूँ मैं. He says that when the fakir becomes a mirror, when he purifies himself, he becomes a mirror in the final stage. And when he goes in front of someone, then what he sees, the reflection of within his own self, is the person standing in front of him. And when the fakir goes in front of a mirror himself, and he himself is a mirror, what do you think happens? The fakir sees his own self within him, so his own self, and then he gets bewildered. And that is the final state where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he reached Kaaba Qausain, and we talked about in the Miraj, he said, when the final veil was lifted, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked at that, because he's a mirror, and Allah has got a mirror there. So when you point two mirrors to each other, you see that infinite mirrors, right? Same thing happens here, and this is the final state, mashallah. So this is the whole uh, poem in Urdu. When you sing it, it is आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं, 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 या तो खो जाता हूँ मैं, या खो दिया जाता हूँ मैं, या तो खो जाता हूँ मैं, या खो दिया जाता हूँ मैं. है अनल हक हक, है अनल हक हक मगर कहनी न थी, यार की महफिल से बाहर, यार की महफिल की बात, यार की महफिल से बाहर, यार की महफिल की बात, आपको पाता नहीं जब आपको पाता हूँ मैं। आईना बनकर मकाबिल उसके जब आता हूँ मैं, अपनी सूरत देखता हूँ और इतराता हूँ मैं। So brothers and sisters, mashallah, you know, thank you for giving your time to listen to this presentation. I sincerely hope that you have benefited from this thing. And if at any point, because of my own ignorance or arrogance, you have hurt anybody, please forgive me. There's no bad intention here. And let us make all of us make dua, inshallah, that may Allah help us understand the Kalima Tayyiba and try to complete this journey of self-realization to best of our ability before my soul separates from this body, inshallah, which is man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. So we're trying to do is we are trying to follow the command of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which he stated in his hadith. And brothers and sisters, finally a surah Fatiha for Fakir Baba Muhyiddin to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umma Amina, Umma Khadija, Umma Fatima, Abba Abdullah, मौला अली, मौला हसन, मौला हुसैन, उम्मा ज़ैनब और गौसुल आज़म शेख अब्दुल कादिर जिलानी रज़ियल्लाहु अन्हु। और मौलाना शैतान रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम अल्हम्दुलिल्लाहि रब्बिल आलमीन अर्रहमानिर रहीम मालिकि यौमिद्दीन इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन इहदिनस सिरातल मुस्तकीम सिरातल लज़ीना अनअमता अलैहिम गैरिल मग़दूबि अलैहिम वलद्दॉल्लीन आमीन। अस्सलामु अलैकुम।